Ladies and gentlemen, we will begin proceedings in 5 minutes flat at 7 p.m. 5 minutes flat, so. Yeah? You ready to start? The Prime Minister is chomping at the bit to get it going. So, y'all ready? You sure you're ready? Mikey Live, you ready? Tell me if you're ready. Yeah? All right. Okay, we're ready. You all share the live, I share the live. So, Honorable Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell, Minister of the State of Grenada, Minister of National Security, Public Administration, Home Affairs, Information and Disaster Management, and Minister for Infrastructure and Physical Development, Public Utilities, Civil Aviation, and Transport. Honorable Kerryne James, Minister for Climate Resilience, the Environment and Renewable Energy. Honorable LaCret, Minister for Health, Wellness and Religious Affairs. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This evening, brothers and sisters, we are here at the Community Town Hall for this constituency of St. John. You know, we are moving them around the country. We are here to give account for what the government has been doing generally in the state of Grenada and specifically in the constituency of St. John. And this is a quarterly event, and we have stuck to the agenda. And so, brothers and sisters, I want you to give the government a round of applause. I don't think we have ever seen this kind of accountability since whenever. So we are going to be leading National Democratic Congress, Government of Grenada, leading the way. And so, brothers and sisters, at this juncture, we always acknowledge the Lord. And so we invite Teacher Anne-Marie to come to do the prayers. That will be followed by us, the national anthem. Yes? So let's all stand for prayer. Sister Anne-Marie, Teacher Anne-Marie.
Good evening, beautiful crowd. Let's ready ourselves for praise. Heavenly Father, we come before your presence this evening. Father, we thank you for today and all your many blessings. We thank you, dear Lord, for your guidance and your protection throughout the day. We thank you, dear Lord, for your sustenance. We thank you for your love and your patience. We thank you for everything that you have done for us today to make this day a successful one. Father, as we gather here this evening for this meeting, we pray, dear God, that this meeting will be conducted with dignity and with respect, and that all would go well. Father, we just want to bring our government before you. We pray, dear God, especially for our Prime Minister. We pray for all the members of government. We pray, dear God, that you will cover them the way a hen covers her chicks, and that you will keep them safe, Lord. Father, we know the task that they have to do is very heavy, and we know that they cannot do it by themselves. So we thank you for all of us who are here today in one way or the other to help to make it easier by expressing our concerns, sharing ideas, and appreciating what they have done so far. Father, tonight we just want to bring this meeting under control, help every one of us, dear Lord, to be a part of it and to genuinely contribute in whatever way we can. We thank you, dear Lord, for all our many communities who have turned out here tonight. I guess from Cotton Bailey, Concord, Black Bay, Marigot, Conroy, even Gove, and wherever else they would have come from. Bless everyone, dear Lord. Help us to have a wonderful time here in the interest of our country. You have given us this beautiful country, dear Lord, and we just want to be good stewards, and we want to make sure that we take care of this country that you have given to us. Bless us again, dear Father. Thank you for bringing us here safely and help us to get back home safely. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, teacher. No, don't sit. We have the national anthem at this juncture. Hail, Grenada, land of ours, we pledge ourselves to thee. Heads, hearts, and hands in unity to reach our destiny. Ever conscious of a God, being proud of our heritage, may we with faith and courage aspire, build, and advance as one people, one family. God bless our nation. Yeah. Give yourselves a round of applause. You all could well sing. You may have your seats. Brothers and sisters, at this juncture, we will invite to the microphone to bring words of welcome our speaker, Shod Baptiste. Bring him on with a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Before we invite Shod, may we please acknowledge the presence of Senator Gloria Thomas, Minister of State with responsibility for social development and gender affairs. Honorable Delma Thomas, MP for St. Andrew Northwest. Honorable Andy Williams, Minister for Mobilization, Implementation, and Transformation. Well, look ting. Yes, we here, brothers and sisters, we here. They are here to speak to you tonight. Put your hands together again for Shod Baptiste, brothers and sisters.
Honored to be here today, representing the spirit of Concord and the harmony that binds us together. Concord has always been more than just a location on the map. It is a place where unity thrives, where kindness and support are woven into fabric of our daily lives. I can attest to this personally, having been fortunate enough to grow up here, surrounded by neighbors who nurtured and encouraged my education journey. I remember Mr. Albert, the barber, known as Jax, who without hesitation promised to trim my hair for free as I pursued my studies. His unwavering support is just one example of the generosity and care that define our village. But it doesn't stop there. Our community has always rallied behind its own. Whether it was a venture I undertook, where skilled individuals like Marvin Frank offered their expertise without expecting anything in return, or wise counsel from Leroy, who guided business endeavors with love and sincerity. Our builders, who have built more than just structures, are now embracing the idea of imparting their knowledge and skills to our younger generation. They are willing to teach our young men valuable trades that will shape their future and empower them to contribute positively in our community. We gather here today not only to welcome our distinguished guests, but also to show our unwavering support to our Member of Parliament, the youngest ever in Grenada, the passionate and dedicated Honorable Kerryne James. She has been a beacon of hope, a tireless advocate for our village, and a true leader who listens and responds to our needs. As we continue to work together, let us cherish the unity and peace that define us. Let us remember the recent loss of Alyssa, affectionately known as Move, and how our village came together to support his family and one another in our time of grief. It is moments like these that remind us of strength and our community bonds. Let us embrace the spirit of concord, a spirit of unity, support, and love for one another. Together we will build an even brighter future for our village and our nation. So thank you for being here today, and may our discussions be fruitful and our unity enduring. Now, as we gather here today in the village of Concord, I am reminded of the incredible unity and support that define us as a community. Our strength lies not only in our beautiful landscape, but also in our hearts and in the hearts of villagers. Now, I have had the privilege of witnessing countless acts of kindness, unwavering support, and genuine love that flow through the veins of our community. It is this unity that has made us resilient in the face of challenges and has enabled us to thrive as a close-knit family. Our young and dynamic Member of Parliament, Kerryne James, embodies the spirit of concord. She's not just a leader, she is one of us, born and raised in the village, St. John's. Her dedication to our welfare, her tireless efforts to address our concerns, and her commitment to securing a brighter future for our youth have been nothing short of inspiring. Honorable Kerryne James is the youngest MP in the history of Grenada, and a testament to her unwavering dedication and faith our community has in her leadership. She has been instrumental in bringing positive change to Concord, from advocating for improved infrastructure to championing educational opportunities for our children. She has shown us what can be achieved through unity, determination, and the love we share for our village. So today, as a united community, we encourage Kerryne James to continue being a regular presence in the village of Concord. We encourage frequent visits because our willingness to listen to our pleas and needs are noted, and our commitment to community development are vital for well-being and prosperity of our people. Let us as a community continue to rally behind her. Let us offer her unwavering support, just as she has supported many. Together we can achieve remarkable things, not just for Concord, but for our nation. We must stand together, shoulder to shoulder, in our pursuit of progress, ensuring that no one is left behind. In Concord, we have shown time and time again that we are a community that cares deeply for one another. Let us carry the spirit forward, nurturing the dreams of our youth, celebrating our cultural richness, and striving for a brighter future together. In closing, I urge you all to continue the legacy of unity and support that defines us. As we move forward, let us remember that it's through our collective efforts that we will achieve greatness. Together, there is no challenge too great, no goal too ambitious, and no dream beyond our reach. Thank you, and may our community continue to thrive through the power of unity and love.
Through the power of unity and love. Give the young man another round of applause, brothers and sisters. I like how we inspiring the youth, to come up and to be a part of this. Ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, we invite to the microphone the Honorable Delma Thomas, MP for St. Andrew Northwest Constituency.
Our political leader and Prime Minister, Honorable Deacon Mitchell, the lady of the hour, the lady of the moment, my daughter, your MP, Honorable Kerryne James, other members of the head table, ladies and gentlemen of St. John's, Concord, St. John's, a pleasant good evening to every one of you. That doesn't sound like St. John's. Good evening. Thank you. It is indeed a pleasure and an honor to be here this afternoon, standing on the same platform as Kerryne James. Tonight, I pledge my unwavering support to your young MP, a hardworking and dedicated lady. Your child, you knew her from a girl, and you see, as a young person, she's able to lead you. And so we have to applaud her. We also have to support her. So brothers and sisters, tonight, I ask you, whether you have voted for the NNP last time, you voted for the NDC, let us rally around our representative, Honorable Kerryne James, because we want development for the people of St. John's. This is not about yellow or about green, but it's about the development of the people of St. John's and, by extension, the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. My dear people of St. John's, I have been in communication with your representative, and I know the plan she has in store for you. And so in order for her to achieve, she needs all hands on deck. She needs inclusiveness. She needs everyone to be part of the transformational agenda. And so I urge you to join her, because when we divide against party line, we can only do small things for our village and our country. But when we combine our effort and we unite together, we can move mountains. And so I urge you, the people of St. John's, to combine your effort and work with your Honorable MP, Kerryne James, so that you can move St. John's forward. We know that she wants to move forward, but she cannot do it for herself. So I call on everyone, young, the middle-aged, the elderly, support her, work with her, encourage her, so that she can bring the development that you are looking for in St. John's. The fishermen, the farmers, our young people, we will work together to develop your village, your communities, your parish, your constituency, and in the end, we will transform for you. But she cannot transform, and the NDC government alone cannot transform without you. We need every one of you, all hands on deck, to work together to develop the parish. So I say to you, let us soldier on together. Let us unite together. Let us put all our differences aside. The very fact that I stand here as someone who ran for the NNP last election speaks volume. It says to you that this is a government of inclusion. And so I call on everyone in St. John's, those who are present here, those who are looking on the live, those who will see after. Let us put our differences aside and work together with the transformational agenda of the National Democratic Congress, and let us move Grenada forward. I thank you.
It looked like we take the best one, but it's all right. Don't mind that, don't mind that. You must get a little pecan tonight, you must get a little pecan. So brothers and sisters, I want you all to put your hands together again for Sister Delma Thomas, MP. She has always come across as a very principled lady, and I want to thank her for that, especially in times when, we could be so despairing about politics, especially the experiences that we have had in the political arena in Grenada. But we bring a new breath. You understand? So that people don't despair. What we're talking about is hope. We want to bring hope, and we want to inspire the youngsters to get involved in politics, brothers and sisters. Yeah? And with this clean agenda that we have here and transformational agenda, we're going to make it happen. So put your hands together again for sister. And keep your hands together, because we bring in the man who like to make things happen in Grenada. Every time when they wake up in the morning and they do so, bounce! Who are you seeing? The man in where? Oh, let me next mic. Yeah. We can't stop 6 runs, brothers and sisters. Put your hands together and let's hear it for MP Andy Williams.
Thank you. Good night to everyone. 6 what? Now right now we stop at 6, we eating 12 now. And next year we eating 18. And next year is 24. Mind you, they go use that as an excuse to go and say something tomorrow. Never see. Good night to everyone, and let me just say good night to our Prime Minister and political leader, the Honorable Deacon Mitchell. Good night to our Queen, Kerryne James. Good night to my brother, Jonathan LaCret. And good night to Gloria Thomas and Delma Thomas, the twins, the Twin Towers. And good night to you lovely people. Good night to everyone that's joining on the live tonight. And whoever I miss out, I want to say good night. Now, it's a pleasure to be here in St. John's tonight. And being part of this government, I must say, I'm very honored. So far, we have been trying our best to see how we can govern Grenada, and by not just by governing, but by doing things the right way. By not just, I know our principle is not just giving a man a fish, but let's teach him how to fish. Right? Some may every day you hear them on the radio talking about a handout and a handout and a handout. And they will keep you forever wanting a handout. Not one day they will come with policies and principles to let you elevate from one level to the other. And they will keep you thinking that they care about you because they're saying the poor, the poor, the poor, and about the handouts. Right? And listen, and sometimes we have to be straight because they have been there for a long time. And tell me what has been put in place to ensure that people elevate from one level to the other. And the fact that we are here doing that now, you are hearing every day. They pay people to go on stations just to criticize every single thing. Right? So, and as a people, we have to be focused. Because we have to know when people are for us and when they are just using you. Now, tonight I can stand here and talk about the Ministry of MIT and how we are trying our best to boost implementation in government. I can tell you that when we entered government, implementation was about 33%. And for the first half of the year, we have seen implementation rose to 78%. I can stand here and tell you about, October 19 is coming up. You know, Fort George is a very historical place, right? And I can tell you about a project we had for 20 million EC dollars. That was there on the book since 2017. And when we came into office, nothing was done. I can stand here and tell you that the implementation rate today stands at 65%, right? I can stand here and tell you that we had an ISO in the south, in Montrouge, and this government, led by the Prime Minister, did its best to ensure that it is no more an ISO, and we have movements on it. I can stand here again and tell you about the plans that we have for healthcare. We have people who want to come back to Grenada. LaCret is still in your thing, right? But you have people who want to come back to Grenada, right, to retire. But if healthcare is not where it's supposed to be, they will not come back. And we had plans to put a teaching hospital here since in the 90s. And today, we are just ensuring that that plan is in place. Now, I can come here again and speak about the plans that Ms. James and I have for St. John's. And sometimes we look at, part of our mandate as a ministry, we have a visible transformation project. And we look at beautifying our country. And it's not just about cleaning up and planting. Sometimes we visit other places and we see it looking beautiful. We come to Grenada and we accept anything. It is time we start taking pride in our country. It is time, when foreigners come, for example, Canada, we had an influx of foreigners. When they come to Grenada, they're supposed to be saying, wow. Not when we go away, we saying wow. They're supposed to be saying wow. Right? And the Honorable Kerryne James and I, we have identified some spaces that we want to beautify, that we want to put as green spaces, and so that we can make St. John's shine. Not more than the salt, but shine, right? But let me just say that lastly, and I won't stay long because tonight is not about me. I want to say that you have a wonderful MP in Ms. Kerryne James. But I also want to be realistic because sometimes we think that this job is an easy job. It's not an easy job, right? No, and I always tell her that I don't want to be in her shoes because her ministry, she has to do a lot of traveling. And sometimes it's hard when you travel and you have to come back and flow again. It's difficult. And I admire the way she handled it. And as young as she is, she's showing maturity. And I'm telling you, sometimes I'm being honest and frank with you. Sometimes, as constituents, you want everything one time and you want it now. right? And now Ms. James have to look at transforming in the government also. And the balance sometimes, it can take a toll on you. So you may not be able to get everything the same time, everything when you want it, but rest assured that I know that she has your interest at hand. And in cabinet, she always make a case for St. John's. So I just want to say that, I am very proud to be associated with this team and to be associated with Ms. James. And Kerryne, you have my support 100%. Right? We discussed some stuff that we want to do in the St. John's. So you will see MIT working along with your MP to ensure that things, things are being done. And this town hall tonight, you have a chance to say exactly and to give your views as to what you think that you want done in St. John's, in order to make it, shine again or shine more, or even more beautiful. So feel free to share your opinion and know that I'm here. And once we say we are going to do it, we are going to do it. So thank you very much, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
When we say we're going to do it, we're going to? Yeah. That we're not sticking. Not at all. We're making things happen, brothers and sisters. We're making things happen. And we're moving the program along because we want to say what we want to say, and then we want to hear from you. Not so? Yeah, you're all here to ask questions and so on. Put us under the microscope. But we're here for that. So, without further ado, I want to bring to the microphone, put your hands together for Honorable Gloria Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Masters of Ceremony, our beloved Prime Minister, Honorable Dickon Mitchell, MP Kerryne James, MP Delma Thomas, my cabinet colleagues, members of the St. John's Executive, ladies and gentlemen, pleasant good evening. Pleasant good evening. It is my distinguished pleasure to be here this evening to share with you some of the programs that we have in the Ministry of Social Development that caters for the needs of the marginalized in the communities. And I'll be giving you a snippet of some of the programs, and the rest is up to you to question and to ask seek pertinent information after my presentation. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to start with the geriatric program. Everybody here should have heard about this program. Okay? The geriatric program is one where we provide home care for the aged in communities. And not just the aged, but aged persons who do not have relatives, friends, or children to care for them. Or, I must say, not willing to care for them in some cases. Because we have instances where we have elderly persons who have children and they are not willing to care for their elderly parents. So as a committed government, as a government that put people first and look after the needs of persons, we have decided to ensure that these elderly persons can be cared for. In the parish of St. John's, the geriatric program is under Grant Save. So referrals have to be made. And then the social worker will come in and do the assessment before the care can be provided. The program is not for sick people, but elderly persons who do not have people to care for them. At times, people will call and say there is this person who is sick and they need care for them. The sick persons will have to be taken to the hospital, where the medical experts will provide the care needed. So on the geriatric program, we look after the elderly who do not have anybody to care for them. And when we speak about anybody, we don't mean only blood relatives, you know. If people in the community come forward and look after that person, they will get support from us. Okay, if they need Pampers or anything like that, you could come in and collect your supplies of Pampers to assist with the care of the elderly. Moving along, we have a burial assistance. And I think this is one of the programs that persons are not really educated about. Not everybody that pass have to get burial assistance. Burial assistance is for persons who do not have relatives to bury them, or if the relatives are not able or cannot afford to bury them. So not every time somebody dies, you have to call the ministry to say, well, we have a death in the family and we need assistance. And I must make the point here too, that burial assistance will go for more or less what we call the, I don't like to use the word, but for you to understand exactly where you're coming from, what we refer to as pauper, but I don't like to use that word. As a social worker, I think there's a better word for me to use, but it can't come to my head right now. So persons who are very poor. So if, for example, you have a relative that died and you choose a coffin, but we expect people to meet us halfway or part of the way, and we give that assistance. And it is mainly for students in school and the elderly. Then we have the seed program. And every time you hear the word seed, it creates a buzz on the island. I don't know why they can put me in this ministry, you know. Yes. It's a lot of pressure. Seed need a ministry for itself. So under the seed program, we consider persons who apply for assistance. If you have children in school and you're not working, you cannot find a job, then we try to assist to ensure that the children attend school by placing you on the seed program. Seed is not a program where you have to be there perpetually. You have to graduate at a point in time. So for example, if we assist your children to go to school, when they reach Form 5, they may go on to TAMCC. Yes, we continue to support them. But once they start to work, we are not supposed to continue that assistance. And these young people, in turn, should turn around to pull their family out of poverty. So SEED is not a program to be there forever. You have to graduate at a point in time. We also have the instance where, apart from children going to school, we have the elderly. And these elderly persons, they may not be receiving any government pension. They are not receiving NIS. They have no means of income. And probably they live on their own. So we put them on to give them a little assistance there too. We have some people, they may come to the ministry. People come to the ministry and they say to me, they come to apply for SEED. And you may do the interview and you realize what these persons really need is a job. And I will tell them that. And I will tell them that and I will try to place them or advocate on their part to see where we could place them, because we have strong, able-bodied persons who may have skills, who may not have skills, who may have some subjects, who may not have subjects, but they come to the ministry and they say, if you could put me on seed. So I said the first option for you is to find a job, and probably if we cannot place you in a job immediately, we could assist with seed if you have children in school and we want to ensure that the children go to school. So as soon as these persons find a job and they have an income, they have to be pulled off from seed. Okay? We also have an electricity assistance program. If we have elderly persons living in a house that do not have electricity, to avoid maybe fires or to reduce the risk of fires, we assist in installing electricity in the household. In cases too where we have children studying and they do not have electricity, we will try to assist also with the installation of electricity in the home. We have a water program, which is mainly for old people, the elderly. Okay? The young people could draw water from the pipe. Just kidding. Yeah, so on the water installation program, you have to, the social worker will make a recommendation on your behalf, and will send the officer to check it out, and then the installation will be done. So this is basically what I want to share with you. Minister Kerryne asked me to talk about health, but Minister LaCret will deal with that. Our health is under Ministry of Health now. So this is some of the social programs that I just want to update you on and to just enlighten you so you will know exactly where things are at when it comes to social development and assistance for needy families. Thank you.
Yes, brothers and sisters, seed need a whole ministry for itself. Yeah, and we understand how that process goes, eh? Boy, I tell you. But you know what? We up to the task. We up to the task. We getting the job done. Give her a round of applause again. Yes. We're not shirking responsibility this side. We getting the job done. Don't study the old talk. We getting the job done. And so, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, the gentleman I'm about to bring to the microphone is a gentleman accredited with changing the whole atmosphere that brought about a win on June 23rd. When that man finished praying, I see people throw rum, throw weed, throw cigarette, throw all kind of things. Big man crying, girls crying, people in the States crying. The ground shake. You understand? I tell you something changed in the atmosphere. We broke whatever little spell it was over this country. And so, brothers and sisters, put your hands together and let's hear for the Minister of Health, Jonathan LaCret.
If you don't love me now, don't love me later, cause my later will be much greater. It only proves that you love the paper. Grenadians like real stupidities. I know that was a surprise for many of you. Christianity is not stupidity. God also uses your personality wherever he places you. He doesn't get rid of it. Yes? Because he needs your personality to do so. So St. John, good night. Don't sit down there and play butter melting in all your mouth, because I know all you could shout better than that. St. John's, good night. Right, shout back at me. I just want to touch 3 things tonight. But before I do so, our Prime Minister, can we give him a round of applause, please? Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell. I remember around election season, there was a song that said, somebody in a hot spot down in the south. So the lines have been erased now, so we just say somebody. But Minister Andy Williams, Honorable Andy Williams, God bless you, sir, and the work that you are doing in your part of the vineyard. Sister Gloria Thomas, my very good friend, and a lot of other things. You could interpret that how you want. But that's my very good friend, caretaker for the constituency of St. Andrew Northwest, and MP Delma Thomas for the constituency of St. Andrew Northwest as well. Can we give them all a round of applause? I don't have a word to really describe my relationship with Honorable Kerryne James. I don't know if it's to describe it as big brother. Well, that's Andy's job, actually. I don't want to take I don't want to take the minister's portfolio of big brother, so I'll just say shadow. I'm just a shadow, yeah. But I think that a number of us, pre-election and post-election, have developed a sort of real symbiotic relationship that we hold each other accountable and we hold each other up and we really inspire and motivate one another. And I think that is the most integral part of any team that you can find, especially if you are in political governance over a nation, that the team must have the stick-to-itiveness. The team must be able to stick together. And from my heart, what I love about the entire governance of the team is that there are not 2 heads and 3 heads. So the team does not function as a 2-headed or 3-headed monster. There is 1 head, 1 chairman of cabinet, 1 prime minister. We listen, we dialogue, we abide, we discuss. Because at the end of the day, it is about you. Honorable Kerryne James, your MP for the constituency of St. John, can you put your hands together and just appreciate the fact that she has stepped forward? I want to speak to you on 3 things briefly. 1, partnership. You have, as a constituency, the opportunity to ensure, and I'm preparing for 27, so excuse me tonight. You have an opportunity to ensure that you partner with your honorable member of parliament in projects and programs that will build the character of the constituency. If there is ever a time that you must hold hands together with your MP, is now. So the narrative about she's young and she's youthful, we know that already. That's physically evident. What we want is a people that has made up their mind, a people with a mind to work that will not undermine the success of the member of parliament, because at the end of the day, St. John, she is representing all persons on either side of the political divide. And if you seek to divide, all you are doing is destabilizing the constituency and causing it to hurt where you are going to hurt the most. Because the people that will hurt the most is you. And if you want growth to take place in the constituency, if you want to see the constituency develop economically and infrastructurally, socially, etc., the only way that you are going to do that is if 2 heads are better than 1. And that is what partnership is all about. So my encouragement to you tonight is to continue to partner with your member of parliament. You don't like something, be frank with her and tell her. Tearing her down will not help. And St. John is positioned at a strategic time within this 2023 to 2027 election cycle period to grow as a constituency, mentally, psychologically, economically, socially, etc. The choice is yours. You either partner or you lose. You lose the opportunity to be great. And St. John is great. I am not a St. Johnite by natural birth, but I am a St. Johnite by attachment because my wife is from St. John. So I know the quality. I ain't hearing you. I know the quality that you produce. Look at Kerryne James, our ambassador, come on, our sport ambassador, the one and only. So you have the ability within you to produce great things. And as a result of that, nothing must stop the partnership with your MP to continue that production. And I want you to partner. Invest. Now is the time to invest in the infrastructure of St. John. Now is time as you partner to invest in the youth of St. John. Now is time to invest in the institutional knowledge of your elders in St. John. Now is the time to invest in the agriculture sector of St. John. Now is time to invest in climate resilience and energy, healthcare, etc., education in St. John. Every sector of government must be seen and evident in every nook and cranny of St. John, because you have an MP that is a champion for her people. And when you partner with her, the investment will be greater. So partnership, investment, and stability. If you want the seat, next time around, you have to stabilize the ground. There is no other. In fact, we don't have much time. And now is the time for you to stabilize the ground. Stability is important. Because with you are not easily moved. You are not easily distracted. You are not easily attracted and disturbed. So together you have to make up your mind, constituents, both left and both right, that you are going to work with a sense of focus. 6 months in every year is littered with holidays and weekends. We don't have much time. The onus is on you tonight to ensure that collectively St. John continues to have stable representation. Stable representation. Representation that will cause you to understand that there's value in the people of St. John in every community. So partnership, investment, and stability. Peace. And when you work with those three, I believe that you and your member of parliament and the teams and structures she has built around her will be successful and a force to reckon with as a constituency. May God continue to bless you and keep you as you build St. John.
All you heard that? You understand that? So all you going to do that? I can't hear you. That is what I'm talking about. Thank you very much, Senator LaCret, the preacher man. Yes. So, brothers and sisters, at this juncture, Minister Thomas, who was supposed to be here, is out of state. And Minister for Agriculture and Lands, Fisheries, yes? But in his stead, we have this evening Mr. Justin Rennie of the Fisheries Department, who is going to come and make a small presentation to you. So I would invite Brother Rennie to come to the microphone. And you know, this is a fishing area. One of them in Grenada. And so we're going to have a presentation to you from Brother Rennie. Over to you. Bring the man on with a little round of applause now.
Thank you very much. Hello. Thank you very much, Mr. MC. Pleasant good evening, St. John. Pleasant good evening to the head table. The protocol already established. Mr. Prime Minister, good afternoon. You and your cabinet. What I will do is to give you a brief update on what has been happening in the fishery sector over the last 9 months or so. As you would know that within St. John, we have Gov, which is termed the fisheries mecca, the fishing tongue, the fishing parish of Grenada. In St. John, we have the major fisheries complex infrastructure up at Gov, and we all understand how important it is. It was constructed in 2011. However, some of us who would be aware would know that there was a certain level of neglect in terms of maintenance of the facility. And as a result, there has been a deterioration in terms of, for example, the lighting fixtures at the jetty, which provides for working at nights, because we know that the fishermen come shore very late, 11, 12, throughout the night. And when there is no lights, it's very difficult for them. Also, in terms of the security of the fishing vessels, you will know over the years that a number of fishing vessels have been lost due to theft over the years, not only in Gov, but throughout the island state. As a result, it was suggested that security lights be provided, and that has been done over the years in a number of different areas, and we have seen a reduction in terms of the theft of fishing vessels. However, at the jetty in Gov, we know that there were no lights for a number of years. Okay? Fishermen operated in dark, come shore in darkness, and as a result, it was prone to accidents among the fishing fleet. However, within a year, a few months to a year, the lights have been replaced. And as of yesterday, the final set of lights were installed and is now commissioned, and the fishermen can walk safely at nights. Also, it provided, thank you, okay. Also, it provided for the safety of the fleet. As a matter of fact, a couple of months ago, maybe 3-4 months ago, there was a homicide up at Gov. And the talk was that if there were lights on the jetty, that would not have happened, because the person made their way up to the jetty and there was no lights. So all the lights have been reinstated. Also, too, the air conditioning units throughout the facility were down for a couple of years. And now all of the air conditioning units are operational, and the workers are operating in a much more comfortable environment. In terms of fishermen training, as I speak, there is an ongoing fishermen training. 1 week started yesterday and will end on Friday in safety at sea and captaincy. This training program is an island-wide training program. It started in Carriacou, then Petite Martinique, St. George, St. Andrew, and St. David. St. Patrick and St. Mark ended last week, and this week is St. John. This is a very, very important training program because it covers a number of areas within the fishing industry. For example, persons who operate vessels, and we classify it as level 2 training, can receive training in rules of the road, coastal navigation, seamanship and boat building, safety at sea, search and rescue, the use of GPS, VHF radio operating procedures, fisheries management laws and regulations, fisheries conservation measures, first aid, conflict resolution, and troubleshooting outboard engines. So you would see that this training is an all-round training program. And we have seen over the years, over the last 4 decades, a number of our fishermen were lost at sea as a result of lack of training. So you have a boat, you have savings, you can build a boat, or you get a loan, you just go out fishing, operating a boat on the high seas. Now, that is not the same thing if you want to operate a vehicle or fly a plane. You must be trained, because in doing so, you are putting yourself at risk as well as others. So it's important that you receive the adequate and necessary training to ensure you understand how to operate a boat. And we have seen a reduction in fishermen lost at sea over the years. I recall in 1987, 7 fishermen were lost at sea one day. 4 boats, 7 fishermen, because of lack of training. And thereafter, we have seen every year you can guarantee a number of fishermen will be lost at sea. Over the last decade or so and a half, we have seen that there's a significant reduction in terms of fishermen lost at sea, and which augurs well for that when a fisherman is lost at sea, the heartache it brings not only to his family, but to the community which he belongs, okay? And it's not just a loss of life, but also a loss of livelihoods, because this fisherman is responsible for providing that sustainable livelihoods for his family as well as the community. So a lot of emphasis is placed on training, and the ministry is also very, very supportive of this program. Now, not everyone will be trained in this program. However, coming next year, there would also be another major project negotiated with the World Bank to provide significant assistance to the fisheries sector, including St. John. For example, there will be a major FAD development program. That's a fisheries fish aggregating device. Most of the fishermen will be aware of it, and some will be deployed outside of Gov. There is also training in safety at sea will continue next year. Also product development, because one of the things is that you can produce fish, but at the same time, you need to engage in product development and value addition in terms of what you do. Also, too, in terms of post-harvest technology, quality assurance, Grenada is now on the list 1 of HACCP, okay, which means that Grenada can export fish internationally to any market. Now we have to maintain that. So the post-harvest technology is to ensure that the quality is maintained from the line to the plate, okay, throughout the value chain, okay, and that is very, very important. You'll also be aware that even at the facility in Gov, a lot of the equipments have been having problems as a result of the lack of proactive maintenance. So that is something that we have to address also next year. I don't want to be too long, but just to say that in terms of the fishing sector of Gov, a lot is in store for you. For example, we also have some lights at Marigot, okay? Marigot seems to be developing into a vibrant fishing area. Okay, we have seen a lot of boats there. There are no lights, there are no facility, nothing there. So the first thing that will be done as part of our national program to provide security lights for the fishermen, and also to work lights that one will be provided in Marigot. And we are also looking at providing a facility for Marigot, because I've been there and I've seen the situation there. So just to say that a lot is in store for St. John, but also the nation as a whole in terms of development and management of our fisheries resources. So I just want to thank you very much and have a good night.
Thank you very much, Brother Ernie. Yes, things happening in the fishing sector, boy. Things happening. Put all your hands together because that's going to benefit all of you up here big time. Things happening. I ain't about Marigot and so on. Thing coming in Marigot. Yeah. Proper thing. That is what we are about. And so, brothers and sisters, I want you all to put your hands together as we invite your MP to the microphone, Sister, Member of Parliament for the Constituency of St. John, Kerryne James.
Thank you so very much to our very vibrant chair. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'll do it one last time because I think it's either my voice has went or I'm not hearing properly. So I'll say it again. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing this evening? We doing good, you sure? All right. So first, before I begin my presentation, let me recognize the head table. And I will start with the man that just stepped out for a little bit because at the end of the day, we're all human beings. And sometimes, as Minister Williams mentioned in his presentation, we tend to forget that we are ministers, we are MPs, but most persons tend to forget, even ourselves at times, that we are human beings. And so it comes with it. We are alive, kicking, and well. And so you would see these behaviors, you would see us in our element, but don't use it as a weapon against us. All right? So to our beloved Prime Minister, Honorable Dickon Mitchell, let me recognize my two brothers, whom I love dearly. I am certain that they are tired with me, and they know that if they did not make it here this evening, they would not see the end of day tomorrow, praise the Lord. So ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Minister Andy Williams. Give it up also for Minister Jonathan LaCret, Minister for Health and my conscience. I also want to recognize the beautiful women, because sometimes I feel alone. Sometimes we feel alone in the political realm in Grenada because there's not enough women stepping up to wanting to be a part of politics, wanting to become parliamentarians. And so I want to recognize the Honorable Delma Thomas, who I refer to as Mother. This lady is someone who I used to pray long and hard for her to realize that, you know, she needs to be a part of government. And I am happy to see that she decided to do that, not from a personal standpoint, but knowing the reason why she got into it, understanding and never forgetting herself in the process and ensuring that she look out for her constituents. So, Honorable Thomas, Mother, I want to say thank you so much for doing this for your constituency. Thank you for coming on board. Thank you for entrusting us to be the team, to be the family that you have created and inherited. And we are there with you right throughout. And we need that kind of genuine focus. That kind of genuine focus in politics is something that we need. And so we are happy to have you there to ensure that we do not make the mistakes of the past. To the Honorable Gloria Thomas, the sisters, I love this lady. There's so much things that I want to say that this lady does say, but all he would say a lie. But I just want to say thank you so much for your openness. Thank you for making cabinet sessions. Thank you for making this journey what it is, a fun-filled one. Thank you for being strict. Thank you for being outspoken when you have to. And thank you for ensuring that we can have fun while doing our job. So I appreciate the head table for taking the time out to come today. So ladies and gentlemen, you would see I strategically invited ministers to come to this first town hall. And I don't just do things for doing things' sake. I listen to the critiques. I listen and I observe my constituents when they come into my office. Every Thursdays when I'm on island, and sometimes we do other days to accommodate based on the requests made at the office. I studied very well each and every community back in 2022. So based on the research that myself and my team did last year, based on the persons coming into our office, based on persons who I meet on a day-to-day basis on my way to and for the ministry and just everyday life, based on persons calling with their key interest, I strategically chose ministers to come here to speak to the needs as to what their ministries are doing and where St. John fit in the whole grand scheme of things. Yes, I have regrets from two minister colleagues, Minister Adrian Thomas, who is out of state on government business in Jamaica. He was expected to be back today, but he will be back tomorrow. And I also have regrets from the Minister of Sports, Youth, Culture, Minister Ron Redhead, who is in South Korea, and we got the scheduling of the events and activities were conflicted as a result of that. So I hope that in my presentation as a constituency update, I will be able to capture some of the things that we would like to do, some of the things that I promised during the campaign season, some that we were able to accomplish, and others that would form part of the 2024 plans and preparations. So I am not here in the capacity as Minister for Climate Resilience, Environment and Renewable Energy, but I am here this evening as your Member of Parliament for St. John. All right? So I have a presentation, and I did it that way because I am extra, maybe. My team would say that. But I wanted us to see pictures from where we were to remind persons that we made a promise and we are aware of the promises that we made, and we are trying our utmost. I can speak for myself, and I can vouch and swear on the other MPs as well, that we all try. Outside of our ministerial portfolios, we lobby, we ask questions, we look out for, and we prioritize our constituencies. Yes? Everybody listening, or are we bored? All right. So I'm going to go right into it. I don't know why I feel so flustered, but today was busy, but we're going to make it by the grace of God. So let us go to the next slide. So I trust that everybody would be able to see. So my constituency update will take the form of, and I believe that this is not the updated presentation, but my presentation will take the form of giving a constituency update for infrastructure, some of the concept notes, projects, proposals that we developed into concept notes for the development of the constituency, some of those social safety net programs that we have, a status update on the particulars for St. John, as well as I mentioned, all of this would be against the backdrop of the visit in my office. Not this slide, not the presentation. So we would go on to the next slide. So for infrastructure, we have done quite a number of roads in the area in St. John on a whole. The first one I would begin with is Douglaston by Road road that we did, and it was approximately 2,000 feet of road that we did within the first few months in office. There are 4 pictures on the screen. You will see the first one, the first 2, and I'm going from top to bottom. The first 2 is what the roads now look like. The second picture across is just a mapping as to the length of road that we did. And then the picture below that, I don't need to speak on it, right? We see there was no road before. So this road was a road that many constituents complained about, lobbied for more than 10 years well. And I was happy to do that for them within the first 6 months in office. So it was just shy of 2,000 road. It was just shy of 2,000 feet. So I want to say thank you so much to my road officer. She's very hardworking. She's a part of the Ministry of Infrastructure in the sub-office in St. John. And I want to say hats off to her for trying our best to squeeze it in within the first 6 months that we were in office to commence the work. We had some challenges with getting the material to do the pitching and so, but we were able to overcome those challenges, and we did 2,000 feet of road. You would see that there is, if you go back to the same slide, you would see that we still need some advancements on work. So while we pitch and do the surface of the road, you would realize that drainage and so is missing. So that is the next phase to come back to it to get it fully completed. But the residents are happy. I have received quite a number of thank you cards. I have received phone calls from constituents in tears crying because they have lobbied for that road for years. And to be able to do that in the first 6 months, I cannot say I did it all by myself. But I want to thank my road officer for doing that for the people in Douglaston. The next slide is a road, again, that many constituents asked for prior to forming the administration. That this time, this road is in Harlem Heights. Can anybody tell me where Harlem Heights is? I can't hear properly. It's in Grand Roy. So we were able, by the school to be exact. Thank you for that. So we were able to complete Harlem Heights by road and drainage. So this one has drainage. Drainage was a part of the component of work, and that was approximately 300 feet of road. The first picture, you would see what the road looked like before. As you'd see, it's grass and dirt. The second picture is what the road looked like, and then the third picture is an excerpt of the drainage that we did. And I think that is box drains, right? All right. The next infrastructure with regards to road that we did within my term thus far is the Mount Nesbitt road, and we have put asphalt there. It's approximately 3,750 feet of road. So the first picture that you see is a map of what the road looks like. It's so you can make a U. And the other 2 pictures is what the road looked like now. All right? There's another one. So this one, again, is also another road network that we did in Mount Nesbitt. It's also asphalt as well. We did asphalt work on it. Approximately 350 feet. You will see what the road looked like on the first 2 pictures. You will see a mapping of what the length, the feet footage of it looked like from above, and then you will see what the end product looked like. And this road as well, you would recognize in the last picture that it doesn't have drains. So that is the next phase of work that we are going to do. I'm a perfectionist, sadly, but so I wanted to do everything all together, but we can't get everything perfect all the time, and that is a good step in the right direction. Yes? So we have the road, the drains will come soon. All right? The next update that we have for roads again, Douglaston Asphalt Road. and that is in we call that area Shortcut, a part of Shortcut. So Shortcut is a longer path, but that is the bottom part of it. In Douglaston, it's approximately 400 feet of road. The first picture is what the road look like now. We have a mapping of what the 400 feet look like. And then the other picture is what it looks like from a different angle. So that's from top, and the other one is from bottom up. The next one that we have, moving into it, we have closure, retaining wall, drainage, and road. So during the election, there was a slight emergency that happened in closure, and after the elections, well, it was something that constituents flagged. After the election was over and everything was settling, and so it became an emergency because it was not attended to. So this picture, you see me with the hat. That picture is what the road looked like, and I'm sorry that we weren't able to put the other picture so that you get an appreciation as to how steep that precipice was looking. Literally, closure was going to separate from the rest of St. John if that road was not given proper attention to. So we were able to fix that. You would see what the road looked like now. Well, the gang is up there now to pitch and everything. So that's what the road looked like at the bottom picture. And then you see the drainage work, and the retaining wall is on the other side. We did have other pictures from a different angle, but we're having some technical difficulties now, so you don't get to see the updated picture. So that is one thing that we addressed. Within 2 weeks of making it known to the Ministry of Infrastructure. So I want to say thank you to the Ministry of Infrastructure for doing this for us in St. John and for ensuring that, all right, and for ensuring, on the light side of things, for ensuring that closure remains in St. John, all right? The next infrastructure update that we have is a retaining wall done in the area of Mani in Loreto. That area is an area where government have crown lands or government lands. It is known for being distributed or persons being able to purchase land at a very discounted price in that area. Now, a lot of persons were given lands there either to pay back or given based on their circumstance. If they can't pay back, they just gave them the lands. But there was no real infrastructure development done to ensure that that area is safe, right? So we had situations that occurred. I'm pretty sure that persons would have known about the stone that fell in Mani in the house. So literally, Mani is filled with big rocks. Right? So this work, while I am appreciative for the Ministry of Infrastructure again, and I'm happy, but it's a danger zone. And I do not want for when the Ministry of Agriculture and Lands complete their studies to see where exactly government have lands, what we have still remaining, what is already owned, who already have lands. When they finish that big study and we are able to provide proper Grenadian-style homes for my constituents, I want to ensure that I could rest my head when rain fall. I don't have to pray and say, Lord have mercy. I hope nothing will happen to nobody. So we are appreciative, Honorable Prime Minister, for the retaining wall work that was done and the slight drainage that was done to the area. But we are knocking and we are hoping that you would bless St. John with more for money. So this is just if you go back, this is just a picture. Go back to the other slide. This is just a picture that was done of the area, of the next area. This one, the name is not up. This one is St. Francis Street. So for persons who are familiar with the Fish Friday Road, you would know that the sidewalk or the road alongside the community library come up to my office, the dilapidated building that's in front of on the other side of the road to my constituency office. You would know that was left neglected for quite some time. And we were able as well to hats off to my field research assistant, Mr. Andrew, working in tangent with the road officer to ensure that works were completed. I apologize for not having the picture of what it looks like now. We had it, but I'm not too certain what is happening to the presentation, that we don't have the other picture to show the completed works. So what I would do is, at the end of it, the Minister for Mobilization, Implementation and Transportation promised our MP, our beloved MP for St. John, some assistance. So we are going to send him all of the pictures, and then he would do a video presentation for us so that we see what it looks like now. But this picture at the top of it's just what the aerial shot as to how much length we did for the sidewalk rehabilitation on St. Francis Street in Guelph. This picture, ladies and gentlemen, if you're familiar with that area, can somebody just tell me where that place is, please? Don't read the name on the screen, but explain to them. Sorry, I can't hear. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Old Road, Marigot, Black Bay / Black Bay. So this is another, most persons who are not from St. John, you would know that road where we had works going on for quite some time at the top part in Marigot by a lady called Miss Faith Shop, right? We had some work there, and persons would know access to Old Road is from that top part coming. What I found out when I was during my campaign last year, ladies and gentlemen, is that there is another access point to the road and to the village. And persons were asking, pleading, because work was being done at the top part of Old Road and stuff. Persons who got their burials, who had probably had an emergency, God forbid, and I trust no families were affected in that way. If there was ever to have any severe health crisis, there was no access to the top part that we all accustomed to seeing on our way going down to St. George. So it was something that we wanted to do, but it was not a key priority infrastructure area. But because of the emergency of it, it was a necessity. And I say thank you again to the Ministry of Infrastructure and the Minister for ensuring that St. John was not left out. Thank you for prioritizing that road. Even if it was not a part of the budget, they still found the monies to do it. So give them a round of applause. So we now have 2 access points to the Old Road community. You could pass from Black Bay inside, and you could pass from Marigot Main Road inside. And that's go back. That road was 1,700 feet of road, asphalted with drainage, right? So I believe we still have just some outstanding works to do. As I say, I am a perfectionist, and so if I can give somebody proper thing, I would rather not to do it. But we started and we're making progress, ladies and gentlemen. And Old Road people, we have a lot in store for you. Not only roads, not only in infrastructure development. So that was one of that we did. The aerial picture just shows the 1,700 feet of road highlighted in orange. Next slide. So we moved to Power Park, right? So you will see the drone shot of what the road, you're welcome, of what the road looks like. I don't think that we had it was only drainage that we did there. So persons were complaining that it was hard for them to get out and get to work and back to their homes when rain fall and so, because there was not proper drainage in the area. All right, you're welcome, baby. So we were able to do proper drainage for them again within the first 6 months in office. So that was something that was not budgeted for, but we were able to do it. So thank you so much to the Ministry of Infrastructure for adhering to that request. The next one, ladies and gentlemen, and this time I want you to look down on the floor. And then we go look back up. So we go exercise our eyes a little bit, look down, and then we go look back up. So when we got into office, we inherited a situation right here in Concord Government School, whereby a number of parents came to my office, a number of teachers, and make some noise and give a round of applause to our teachers and the principal in Concord Government School. Because the passion that they have for this school, past and present teachers, you would probably think is 1,000 children that are inside here. The passion that they have. So they love the children, and the number of students that they have, you would be amazed. It's just a little bit. But the love that they have, I admire that, and I always tell them that. When I did my school visit in September for the first day of school, I told them how appreciative and how inspiring that they go for the children, and they do their best to fight behind the children. So people in Concord, there's no need to send your children in my alma mater. In Guelph, you have a nice facility here, and people who really cares. I'm not saying that the other teachers don't care, but I'm just saying that we need to highlight the underdogs when we get an opportunity too. So hats off to the teachers and principal here. So back to the substance now. So ladies and gentlemen, a number of parents lobbied for this works to complete because the flooring, when it was done prior to our time in office, and I'm being very selective with the words here, I don't know if they were unaware as to its children. It's a school, the type of furniture that we have, and with constant friction on the floor, so we have to be very careful and very meticulous as to what type of material you use for the flooring, as well as the walls and so, because I am a sufferer of, I have asthma really bad, and I suffer with sinuses. So, but we can't get the painting always right. But the flooring in particular, we have to be very meticulous with what materials that we use. So the parents wanted to protest the streets because they were lobbying for that long before our time in office. Nothing was done. And so I lobbied and I lobbied and I lobbied. And our beloved Minister for Education, who is not here, he said, I don't think we have a budget for it. I said, Minister, the people go to the streets. We need to listen to it, because I don't want a situation where parents thinking their children come into school to learn and have education, but then they have to get a call 10 o'clock in the day that their child fall down sick, asthma throw them down, sinuses throw them down, or worse yet. So the Minister for Education and his team, they were so happy, and they worked along with us very well and very fast to do over the flooring, to look down again and look back up. So this is what the flooring look like. You would see, because of the constant friction of the pulling of the chairs and tables, when the material on the floor breaks, it became in like a powdery substance type of thing, and that was causing the students with the allergies and so to act up. So we were blessed and able to have proper tiling now. You could drag your foot on it, you could glide. Nothing would kill the children here. So parents, your children is safe at Concord Government School. We move on to the next work that we did. Right as you come up the hill today, we had the situation whereby the public washroom facility, it was out of commission. Well, I could say out of commission, because the thing was so bad, and I'm so sorry that I really try not to look behind it, because I'm a person, and my mother could vouch for me. I'm a person, I don't dwell on what was. I dwell on what is in front of me and where I'm heading. But I'm sorry that we didn't have a picture of the interior of what it looked like. The stench that came from that interior facility that was there, the type of infrastructure that was so outdated that all of the waste that was there banked up and came back up through the toilets. Disgusting, gross. So we were able to, through the Ministry of Sports, to ensure, and I'm sorry, I also am a lover of the creative economy, the creative arts, and there's a gentleman who, over the carnival season, brought life to Concord. And I'm sorry that wasn't able to make it to the activities that he had. And I'm also sorry that the works were not done in time, so that when he gathered the community together in just pure enjoyment, no violence, no fights, no nothing, just pure enjoyment. And a young man who is a up-and-coming promoter, maybe I should say a promoter himself, he was doing so much on the court, and I felt bad that when young ladies would go on the court, dress up nice, looking nice, and they can't even use proper toilets when they are in the area on the basketball court. So this is works that we started. We did over completely the septic tank. The electrical wiring, the plumbing was redone, new toilets was installed, the roof was filled with termite. That is ongoing as well. So what you see now is not what you would see if you came up today. You would realize that there is a different color on the building because they have finished the infrastructural work, make the building more sound. And work is almost complete for that. And I say thank you to the Ministry of Sports for seeing the need to rehabilitate and to ensure that they lobbied behind us for the renovations of the public washroom facility that would not only act as a public washroom, but that would act as a means of when persons come to play sports. And we're going to get to that aspect of the presentation, that they have good facilities, because we want to ensure our sportsmen and women are very equipped. And you might think this is a little thing, but come on. It was a disgrace to see what was. All right? So you would wait for Minister MIT to do the presentation for us, and then you will see more updated photos as composed to that photo that was there. So that's work again. So ladies and gentlemen, the print is very small, but we have a list of 16 projects that we have in the Ministry of Infrastructure. And once they give the green light, of course, we have to ensure that we check all our business. We make sure that we cross all our T's, dot all our I's. So we have some projects. Most of them would come into the budget 2024 because of the timing and because it was infrastructure needs that developed as a result of the constituency office, persons coming in, and my field research assistant goes out, do the investigation, see if it's something that's affecting not just one, not just two, but plenty of persons in the area, and then we would make the recommendation, send it through the road officer, and then the road officer will take it from there and send it on to the Ministry of Infrastructure. So these, ladies and gentlemen, some of them are what I promised on, and others are what came up as we go along, right? So we have 16 thus far. The key ones that we have, and I'm saying it now so that I don't hear it comes up as a question later on. We have the Mungo Road, which was a road that collapsed because there was no attention done to rehabilitate prior to 2022. So the road literally collapsed. We have that, and retaining the road and the retaining wall to come. We also have and I can see from far, we also have the Central Guava State slippery drain and retaining wall to come. We have for our area on this side, the south part of the constituency, we have the Grand Roy by the medical center there, the retaining wall that needs to come. So that will come before the 5 years. We also have the Douglaston culvert replacement and road rehabilitation there as well. We have as I made mention, I exaggerated on the Manny situation already, and quite a number of other projects. Sweet Corner, Concord pavement replacement. We also have the Mongdor Road for the farmers. I hear you, I see you, I came up there, I campaigned, I lobbied, I promised, and I will bring it to fruition. So once the Ministry of Infrastructure has done all of what they need to do, checks and balances, it may not come in this year's budget, but definitely you would see it as a project that will be completed. Yes, so Mondo, your farmers, you are secured and covered. So this is just 16 projects that we have that came up. You are free to message me on WhatsApp, on Facebook, anywhere. Ask Mr. Andrew, he's easy to find. Ask anybody on the team. If you have any other areas that you think might be needed and willing to come on board, to be done infrastructure-wise, we will be happy to hear it and do our internal assessment and send it off to Ministry of Infrastructure. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we move to the next presentation, which was projects that I campaign on based on the research. And when I say I am a very meticulous and a very strategic young lady, believe that your MP knows what she's doing. Yes? So another area that is not a community on the south, but I'm just giving the update. We have a project that is one of my little babies, and I want to say thanks to my transition lead who really and truly rallied behind me and did all of the works to secure the funding and so for this project. So you would know that Mongrambi is my second home, and it is unique to all other communities in St. John. No bias, and please don't stone me, okay? But Mongrambi has their own water distribution network. And so we were able, over 40 years, since the U.S. aid came in and gave them the networks during the revolution time, no work was done to ensure the safety for the residents of Mongrambi. The pipe network, some is busted. They do patch work on it when they can. Good residents and Samaritans up there. But there was need for more support for that project. And when I decided to run, I looked at key transformative projects and plans that would really impact lives in St. John. Not the all necessary infrastructure work, while I am not underscoring its importance, but there is more to transformation. There is more to good stewardship as a member of parliament for your respective constituencies. And so this project is unique to Mongrambi. It is to rehabilitate 3 kilometers of potable water pipe and a supporting dam. The funding was secured from the Global Environment Fund and the Global Water Partnership for the Caribbean. And it is supported by the Mongrambi Water Committee. And of course, I am there to ensure that we have a smooth running. And ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I chose this one to highlight is because I get a sense that when the election is over, everybody think no, whatsoever it goes, everybody think government could do everything by themselves, and the MPs could do everything by his or herself. But I want to emphasize that in order for you to hold me accountable, in order for us to really see true and genuine transformation, we need everybody on board. Yes? And so we need to move, which would happen in the upcoming months. We need to start congregating together. There is a narrative that we always echo, and I want us to be very careful when we leave here, because our tongue has power. Yes? The Bible speaks about the tongue. Know what words you say, when you say it, how you say it. And we often say this phrase or slogan that black people can't come together. And that has really affected me and hurt me. Because numerous occasions in our history, we have seen when black people come together, we are forced to be reckoned with. So, just as how the Mongrambi Water Committee came together and formed a committee, and in addition to this project in which I was instrumental in securing the funding for, and now I could leave them alone now, so if they feel they want to give everybody in St. John water, I'm just sucking Lucy here now, sir. Don't quote me on it, Prime Minister. But when you come together, you are empowered. And that's the only how you can be empowered, not by voting a particular man or woman to represent you. You have to work with me. Let us form ourselves into councils, into committees for maybe direct things that we want to do, direct projects that we want to do, or just for development's sake. Let us form ourselves in groupings. We have the PDs cut out already, so it is easy for us in that way. But I am making a clarion call for us to come together and help me. I can't do it by myself. And I'm hearing Concord now, I'm a phone blow off 10 times already. Somebody want me in some press, somebody want me somewhere else, somebody want me somewhere else. And I understand the job very well, but I'm only one person. And I can only be one place at a time. So I need you. And I don't care about what your political affiliation is. That don't bother me. I treat everybody, and anybody could attest to that if we are honest. Those online who try. I see the comments. I see the fake pages. If you are honest, you know that I am probably the most approachable person that ever ran for St. John. I don't see color. So let us come together. Keep that out of the picture, and let us form committees, form councils so that we could see real, true, transformative change in St. John. Yes? So hats off to the water committee for forming themselves together. Bless you. I had to cool down because I thought I wasn't doing nothing. So projections for 2024, ladies and gentlemen. We have some pictures here, and I have to move very closer because I don't have on my glasses. But the print is very small. But we are aiming to rehabilitate the Palmis Dig. Anybody know what the Palmis Dig is? Put up a hand so if you know. And put up a hand so it's not only the Nutmeg Station in Guelph we have and Concord Waterfall we have as tourism sites in St. John. We have quite a number, right? So the Palmis Dig has been faced with quite a number of infrastructural challenges for several years. As you would see, the water is filthy. Well, I shouldn't say that word, but the water, because of no management of the area, and because of the wall that's there to hold the water into the dam, it has cracks in it. So slowly, what you would recognize, I've heard some persons in the area, the farmers in the area there who I engage, they said that the water used to be so high before, and now it is very low. We used to see, I remember when I was younger, and I used to go on hikes whenever, I didn't go on too many hikes because I was a sickly child, but whenever I would go out on hikes, I remember the dig having quite a number of the same type of species of fish that you would see in Granitang Lake. They would also have, what again they used to have? Something in W. Something in W. I hear somebody mumbling it, the waterfalls and so. And if you go there now, you will see that it's almost non-existent. I think I saw one on my 4th visit up there the other day. I saw one, but it used to have a lot before. And that was something that we used to look forward to seeing as children when we go on our field trips and stuff. So it's something that is very deep and near to me. We are looking to see how best we can find fundings for it. MIT, I have engaged technical officers in MIT since last year. We are looking to see how best we could do up the concept notes and stuff to ensure that we get the proper funding for it so that we can rehabilitate that even and make it even better so that it can become a tourism attraction site for St. John. So Palmis, you are not left out. The other aspect that we have is for 2024, is the rehabilitation of the Public Works building in Guelph. Currently, it is an eyesore. If you are in tune and you love your history, ladies and gentlemen, you would see that the materials that was used to construct such an infrastructure, it is near and dear to me. Right? And over the years, we've done some paint work on it, and until the infrastructure was marked as out of commission because of the challenges of the building. But a gentleman has came forward, I wouldn't say who he is now, wanting to look around the area to see what historical infrastructure that we have that makes us Grenadian, that makes us ancestors of a bloodline so powerful to ensure that we safeguard that. So when we are teaching histories in our school, our children could see where their ancestors' blood, sweat, and tears went to. So we want to rehabilitate the interior, of course, make it more sound, and to put all of our committees, our offices and sub-offices for the different ministries in one building. Everything just rented out here, there, and everywhere. It's it's like a little business. We give a little support, a little something, renting something, and government is renting too much. And you've heard the Prime Minister, you've heard our Prime Minister speak about them things a long time ago, so I don't have to elaborate on that. So the plans for that area, for the rehabilitation of the Public Works building, is to ensure that we could put back all our offices there, so the road office, the constituency office of the parliamentary representative constituency office, the parliamentary elections office, all of the sub-offices that ministries have, social development, and so they're moving from building to building to building to building, and it makes no sense. And we have government properties literally living to waste. Right? So it's an ambitious plan. I don't know if the minister would give St. John all the budget for 2024, but we are hoping to get that done. In addition to that, we've seen that our taxi men and women in St. John has expanded greatly. And then there's a little bit of congestion that happens normally on the streets and so, because there is so much of taxis now. And I want to say hats off to these young men and those more mature too, who found time to really become entrepreneurs and is running good taxi businesses. So give them a round of applause for expanding the transportation aspect in St. John. So in addition to upgrading or rehabilitating the Public Works building, we are embarking on hoping to do a parking area and reclaim some land behind the Public Works building so that we could build a proper taxi station for taxi men and women who have found it within them to make an honest living and honest bread. So in addition to the building, we want to do more. So with the assistance of technical persons and experts, we are going to develop something to take to the Ministry of Infrastructure so that they could see if they will be able to budget it for 2024. If not, it's going to come 2025 for sure. The other thing that we're projecting to do is the renovation and expansion of the Guave fishermen lockers. So for those of you who from Guave, those who are watching online and those who are present here, you would realize that if you walk the land's beach, it's not the bay, it's not the Townhall, the land's beach, you would realize how, due to lack of proper coastal zone management, the structures that erected there, the fishermen trying to do their own thing and support their living and to ensure that their gears are taken care of, they build structures that are not too pleasant. Yes? So we want to rehabilitate, and this picture is not a good picture as to what the structure that existed that the Japanese government gave to us during the 2009 administration era. But I wanted to zoom in on it to show you this building. Some of the fishermen died in that already. The lockers are still closed, and new fishermen who came in now, and probably those who were existing, and because he had so much of fishermen before, they didn't get a chance to have a locker. They don't have space now, so they erect buildings. So in addition, in collaboration with MIT to ensure that we clean up our coastal zone areas, and so we want to first ensure that our fishermen have a place to store their things first before we take down some of the structures that are not too pleasantly looking and that can damage our environment, right? So that's another plan that I have for the fishermen in Guave to ensure that we do the necessary groundwork and research to find out who are the persons that own lockers there. Mr. Rennie is there. I know it's probably the first time he's hearing it, but it's going to come to you, Mr. Rennie, and I know that you have the support. We have your support for St. John to ensure that we do the necessary works for the fishermen up there. The final point on the projections, ladies and gentlemen, is constituency playing fields and community centers and so. So we have quite a number of community centers or buildings that are dubbed as community centers, but really and truly they are almost non-existent because some of them are in poor conditions, some of them private take over the buildings, and these are just ideas, pictures, as to what some of the community centers and places for community congregation is. what you would see on the first half, you would see a kind of dilapidated building there, which is Mount Granby Community Center. You would see an improved model concept of a new structure, and then you would see a little playing field that look kind of upgraded, right? So this is a project proposal that I put together. I did the assessment with the assistance of my community liaison officer, Mrs. Roxanne George. She visited all the buildings that are dubbed community centers in the area. And with the help and assistance of Mr. Sweeney Andrew, my field research assistant, we looked at all the playing fields in St. John. And we have reached out to the Ministry of Sports to assist with rehabilitating the playing fields that we have across St. John. But we have looked at strategic playing fields based on the need for sports, based on the need to keep our culture, to keep tradition alive in the areas. We selected playing fields that we are going to prioritize. So the Grand Roy playing field is one area. Not much work needs to be done, but we want to improve that facility by adding bleachers so that the Grand Roy Government School can have sports in a nice ambience, so that the parents can come and share their children, their grandchildren, and their guardians to support them. So we want to add some bleachers. We want to also change the area so that when we do over the field, people will go and pack on the field and destroy the playing field again, all right? And then we are looking into expanding. Some of them are not properly marked out. I'm lost for the word now because I'm talking so much. But the square meter of the area, it wasn't, it's not designed to have a full 400-meter track. We understand our language? So for some of them, we're going to require retaining wall, backfilling, and expansion of playing fields. So Grand Roy playing field is one of those that I am looking to. Hopefully when Minister returns, he will give me an update on that, as well as the Power Park area. Not much work needs to be done on Power Park, but we want to add closer sitting to the area. Hats off to the Blue Stars committee or organization in Concord who have been together, and they have engaged me in such a formal way and told me about their plans. So Blue Stars committee members, I appreciate you. Encourage other persons in the community to join with you to ensure that when we have our sports is coming up, football tournaments, I looking to come and back up a team in the football tournaments. I noticed that they have to use so much of their expenditure to pay for bleachers, and so we want to put bleachers there so that Blue Stars don't have to use all their liquor profits to pay to rent bleachers. So we want to do some upgrades to Power Park playing field in that regard. The other pictures that you see, ladies and gentlemen, is just interior of what some of the current status of the community centers. We have those, you will see things that termite infestation, no windows. A building adjacent to the community center in Florida was burnt. We want to ensure that our panels has a good host, not only Florida All-Stars, but Grand Roy All-Stars and any other pan companies that are in St. John. We want to ensure that we develop the areas. And we have community centers. So community centers is a focus. Stay tuned for more in-depth because I can't cover everything today because we had to go home. But we have a big surprise and I want all you to be there for that. So move on. So that's some of it. We also want to rehabilitate the Concord basketball court. As well, same on your entrance. When you're going down, you would see it. Take a look and see what it look like and see what it will be in the coming months. All right? Stay tuned for what it will be. So, ladies and gentlemen, we move to a very interesting part of the presentation, and I'm just going to be brief for, give me 2 minutes and somebody time me. So, in 2022, I embarked on a little initiative to just appreciate some of our fishermen. Some of them I was really amazed, inspired, and was happy for. To see some of them that were my classmates. Some of them probably didn't stay in school. Some of them didn't stay in school for whatever reason, and school is not for everybody, so that's not a bad thing. But they decided to invest in themselves and bet on themselves. And I was happy to see my colleagues making more money than me. And I listen to my mother and my parents and them, and I go to school, and they're fishing, they're out on the water, yeah? Putting their lives at risk, bringing back food, bread, everything for their families, missing some occasions too for their families. And I said to myself, if I didn't win the election, I must do something for my friends, the fishermen. I wanted to do it for everybody in St. John because, like I say, I'm a perfectionist. But that didn't happen as so. But I am grateful for the sponsors who came on board in 2022 to see it fit to invest in that initiative. Back in 2022, we were able to give out almost just shy of $23,000 worth of gears, including flares, buoys, life jackets, GPS, radio, and stuff for the fishermen in Guave. But mind you, I am not, some people think I'm the MP for Guave, but based on when we went to the polls, it's the candidate for St. John. So I couldn't leave out my fisher folks in the south part of the constituency. And so I am happy that we were able to continue that initiative of giving equipment to high-class equipment to our fisher folks. And this time around, in the second phase, we are able to give out just shy of $11,000 of fishing gears to our fishermen in the south part of the constituency. So put your hands together for that. Because it's not only infrastructure. It's a little bit, but you heard the plans from Mr. Rennie for the fishing sector for Grenada and St. John, and I'm sure he's going to leave a little extra for St. John, because you know the fishing capital is. Other people just want to say otherwise. But we have the second phase, so in the front, you would see some of it, not all of it, because the table for logistics purposes couldn't fit. But if you turn your eyes to that side, you would see some high-class gears of GPS and radios, just this time for our fisher folks in the best part of the south part, Old Road. So we've gotten the names and numbers for the fishermen down there. Some of them have already started to make the request as to what they have. We told them what we have, and they are going to tell us what they want. If we can't provide for everybody, but I think we have enough for everybody this time, there will definitely be a third, fourth, and fifth time. So I say thank you so very much to the Ministry of Agriculture for facilitating the concession for these equipment that will go a very long way for our fishermen. So it's not just words coming out of your MP's mouth, it's real action, and I'm putting my mouth where the money is. All right? So we have that second phase. We will create a registry of the gears, and so based on we are wait for the manual from Fisheries to see what type of GPS, what type of radio they are going to go to based on international practices and stuff. And we are going to create a registry. So persons who are in the diaspora, who were probably an ex-fisherman, probably just somebody who is well off, who can provide, if you are willing to donate a gear or so, feel free to do so. You could always send a message to us, and we would tell you what exact equipment that we would like for sponsorship, so that we can ensure that we know where our fishermen are and that they are equipped when they go out there risking their lives to make an honest living. So if anybody have any interest in donating into that initiative, we are welcome. And as Minister for Health said, partnership is very important in any government's term. So we appreciate in advance the partnership. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, and it's an introduction for the best part of the evening. You will see it on the screen, the Old Road Fisherman's Locker and Beach Development. It is something that, out of the blue, just got public awareness, something that was a problem to fishermen in the area. And they wanted to do this for the fishermen since 2014. And I have in my hand an authentic document that I found in files that were left back or forgotten in the office that was the previous MP from since 2014. And I would read, in May 20, the Marigot Bay is in decline. It is severely damaged and need urgent action to stop its complete demise. Right? In May 2014, we formed the Marigot Bay Restoration Society, now registered in St. George's, Grenada as a not-for-profit company. The main aim of the organization is to bring the bay to the condition it was in the 1950s to the 1980s, when it was the focus of the community. And they had 3 points. A place where, as children, we spent our school holidays, swimming, playing, fishing, a place where fishermen mended their nets, kept their boats, and landed and sold their catch. A place where visitors came to fish, dive, and snorkel, or just line. The first meeting of the society was held Wednesday, 4th June 2014 in Marigot, where a constitution, mission statement, and action plan for the society were agreed. It's a full document, but I just highlighted the importance and the most substantive part so you would understand the introduction. The committee members, ladies and gentlemen, were as follows. They say, we are pleased to announce that the following persons have agreed to become members of the Save Marigot Bay Committee. Mr. Errol Holder, Mrs. Lorna Holder, Mr. Everett Holder, Ms. Tessa Mitchell, Mr. Tony Williams, Ms. Leonard Cado, and Mr. Terrence Mitchell, all from Marigot, all concerned persons who came together, wrote this very useful and very detailed proposal and dropped it into the then MP. And I saw this in a pile of other documents that were forgotten. So sometimes we must be careful what we say. It was forgotten in a heap of documents 2014. But what is unique about this proposal, ladies and gentlemen, when the then candidate for the National Democratic Congress was running in 2018, you're all following the dates, right? And I was the youngest, back then I was unexperienced. I was the youngest and most unexperienced person with Dr. George Vincent. And when we were down there, there was a different class of fishermen in that area now, and the concern remained the same. So 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 5 years after, the concern remained. I don't know where these people are. We did not have the document at the time, so we didn't know there was any committee or so. I found this in a stockpile with documents when we got into office this time, 2022. And it touched me. It bled my heart. Because here I thought that problem was a problem during 2018 time. And you could say government can't do everything. And maybe we could have forgotten and forgive for that time, because not everything would be done. And we have to understand that. But when I saw this document and I saw 2014 and I say 5, 10 years going, and I remember Dr. George Vincent making that promise. And you will remember that when I was indicted as a candidate for the party during the campaign time, a baton was handed. So promises that didn't just become campaign promises of 2018. My team and I, we did the research and see what was still relevant, review what Doc had, take counsel from persons who are wrong, and we decided to pick out some key problems that were decades old. Decades old. And today, ladies and gentlemen, very few persons I have in my small circle who, when my head is pounding loud, and I can't sleep, and after 3 in the morning, I'm messaging them to fire. What do you think about that? What do you think about that? I went to one person who I trust and who I know would see and would want and love the constituency as a constituent as much as I did. And I had the proposal there. My team and I, we drafted it out. We took some pictures, and we did other little things in the meantime. We had a little draft of what the area was. But I didn't want it to bring it to the public as yet because I wasn't sure on it, right? I wasn't sure on what we wanted to really do. Taking into consideration that in addition to the fishermen in the Old Road Marigot area, the problems that they have there, and the type of culture that they have curated now in terms of having the grilled fish Sundays and all of that in the area, adding value to their catch, I was inspired even more to go out further. And so tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the element of surprise that have been a talking point for some months now, but has been a decade-long issue, is one step closer to becoming a reality for the young men and the more matured men in the Old Road area that are in the fishing sector. So ladies and gentlemen, that is what we have to clap for. Yes. And I hope we are paying attention online, if you know what I mean. So ladies and gentlemen, I invite my deacon, Carla Gleed, and it's D-E-A-C-O-N, not D-I-C-K-O-N. Disclaimer, he is my deacon in my church, along with his team member. I am so sorry I missed the name. They are here to give you, just not too long, but just a presentation into what we have come up with for the Old Road fishermen. So stay tuned. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister James, Honorable Prime Minister, other members of the head table, ladies and gentlemen all. I was invited to visit Old Road, the beach, the bay, and propose a development plan. So we engaged our architectural department. We have 4 architects, and tonight I let one of them, Ms. Colin Frank, explain what they came up with. Ms. Frank.
Thank you. Okay, good night, everyone. I'll try to get to the more salient points as quickly as I can. So the proposal is for the Old Roads, Fishermen's Locker, and of course the beach development. Before we get into the project, of course, the first thing we have to do is to be able to understand the site. Because for any architectural project, the site dictates what is going to happen, right? We can't have a one-size-fits-all approach for every site, right? So this is just an outline of what we're going to follow. We're going to try to get into it. So let's start with the first point, the location. So for persons who are perhaps not from the area, the site itself is situated within the parish of St. John, in the community often called Marigot. Right, so we can see on the image here to give everyone a closer understanding. On the next slide, we're going to see the access points. So as the minister had clearly detailed previously, we have quite a rich network of roads that take us exactly to that point, right? So getting there is not an issue. If we look at what's happening there, we find a mix of residential houses, we find that the community is pretty close-knit, right? So it's kind of a lean-on-me situation, looking out for my brother, I am my brother's keeper. It's really a close-knit community. The zone of the site itself, because we have, again, remember, keeping in mind that the site dictates what's going to happen, we would notice that we already have a steep enough slope starting from, we will see that the land slopes gently towards the sea. That's to say the bay itself is going to be of a significant depth. There's also a wonderful feature, a water course, which is seasonal. So in times of heavy rain, it gives a kind of rapid effect. So with small water, like a small waterfall effect, which gushes through the site. And sunlight. Right, so the site itself, it is bathed in natural sunlight all throughout the year. We don't have any shadowing. The heat, the sunlight is rather intense, right? So these are all points that we're going to keep in mind because we're going to be using them in our development. So wind as well is another prominent feature with a gentle sea breeze which can be observed during specific times of the day, right? Flowing inland from the ocean. And of course, we find an abundance of volcanic rocks. So none of these items will be forgotten. We are again going to be using them. So the shape of the bay, the relative depth, all the natural features that we saw, these are things that we can use for that project, right? And we're going to get there. So the site activity. So we've understood the nature, right? We said it's tight-knit, it's well accessible. We've got the sloping landscape, we've got the natural features, the water course, the sunlight, the wind, and of course, the fishing community. So we've underlined all of this, and here's what we propose. If we can go to the next slide, please. Here is what we're going to recommend. First point, let's look at nature, right? We need to keep this one in mind, nature. And under nature, we said that we're going to use the naturally occurring rocks, optimize on the abundance of sunlight, wind, and of course the water course that comes through, the activity which happens there. So render the lives of the fisher folk and the community, render that a bit easier so they can optimize on local trades and talents, and of course focus on the community. So create areas for communal use. The minister mentioned the fish fry, the grilled fish Saturday that sometimes happen. So we should do that. We should take that into consideration. So here's the project outline. Install a pedestrian bridge over that water course. Erect a fisherman's locker, create a jetty. Use sustainable concepts such as solar harvesting, wind harvesting, and of course water harvesting. Use the boulders which are already on site to create gabion baskets. Build a retaining wall using those same gabion baskets to protect persons when the water flow is intense. And of course to optimize on the rivers, on the use of the river during both wet and dry spells. So here's what this is going to give us. That project, here's what it can look like. So we can have, if you keep clicking, an improved shorelines, varied shade trees, lockers and bathrooms, a pedestrian bridge, and of course, a lined water course, so that same riverbed. In image, we would find it here. So this one might be a bit easier to interpret. If you keep clicking, please. Right, so we can see the water course, so that's the riverway that you would cross currently to get to the actual bay. The shade trees, the lockers, and the pedestrian bridge. Now, it's always easy. They say that a picture is worth 1,000 words. So perhaps we can look at what that would give, right? So this is the idea that we have for that region. Why not try to reclaim some of the beachfront, right? So that people can have an area to congregate, right? One point. Another one, install the pedestrian bridge. So now crossing is no longer a hazard, right? You can cross when it's raining, you can cross when it's not, you can cross when the water is high. How do we keep costs down? Well, remember we mentioned that we've got lots of boulders on the site. Use those same boulders to create a retaining wall. But is it only going to be a retaining wall? Why not have it be multi-use? So it can be a point for people they can sit upon, so we can have it in stairs. So you can sit there, you can, in the dry spells, you can sit there, you can have a cook if you wish, you can maybe just speak with your friends, okay? Have an area where people can actually, take your family or your friends, go have a nice evening stroll, enjoy the wonderful views, see persons as they socialize and they fish, pass on traditions, and also be proud that something like that has finally been done within the community, right? So these are all pictures to show what it will look like once implemented, right? So this is the project that, I guess, the big surprise for the residents of Marigot community. So we're gonna have the Marigot Fishers and Locker facility. So we estimate to have over 20 units of storage, of showers, we're gonna have the jetty so that people can safely moor their boats during dry and inclement weather. Perhaps it can also become a focal point for fishing within the region, so maybe others may want to come and moor their boats there as well, but also you can have fun, right? Come relax, come learn a trade or practice your talents, right? So just a summary of all the interventions, right? To safeguard the equipment of the fisherfolk, to allow safe anchoring of fishing vessels, to easily access all parts of the site of all times, so we don't have to worry, oh, it's flooding, so I can't really cross the river, right? To generate electricity for the site, because of course, solar energy, all the natural and sustainable means of creating energy are going to be important. Have landscaping to improve the sense of place, so people can feel that they belong. This is something that, a place that I can use. And of course, to focus on the community. So like I said, it's a really close-knit community. So to place on emphasis on creating a multi-use space for the local community. And with that, everyone, I thank you for your attention.
So thank you so much to my parish deacon and his team for doing this for the people of St. John, for doing this for the people of Marigot, Old Road area, for the fishermen. I know that they would grab it with all efforts. They are ready to go. Whenever we start, they have pleasure, support. I say thank you to the fishermen. I've heard your cry. Many people heard your cry before. But we are looking forward, and the future is bright, not so? And I would have loved if the nice image of the proposed structure would have remained up so that people would see it and would know that this administration, when we speak transformation, it is not only in words, but in what we do. We want to ensure that every sector is felt in the constituencies. Yes? So you may not have heard something in your community or your area echo tonight. This town hall was specific to the launch of this proposal, and it was specific to the dynamics of the area. So stay tuned. We have some upcoming town halls coming, and there's more surprise. So this is just the first introduction of what the final proposal looks like. The next step for us would be to go on the ground, hear feedback from the residents as well as the fishers in the area to see what they would like the interior aspect to look like. And we have to, of course, do the consultations. Ministry of Infrastructure has to get involved, and we are open to receiving funding as well once we scrutinize and do all our checks and balances. So that would be the next steps. You would see us on the ground pushing it and getting your feedback, because there is no success of any government without consulting the public. And we have not been afraid to do that. We continue to do that even after that period has ended, and you will see us continuing to do so right up until 2027. So ladies and gentlemen, in a nutshell, I am looking at the time, and I'm looking at everybody have their fans fanning, and I have my fan holding as per usual, and I don't want it to be long-winded. So what I've missed in my constituency update verbally, it would be documented and it would be shared via all social media platforms. So you can tune in on my social media pages to get any updates. And without further ado, I turn you over to the chairperson. I'm not trying to do the job. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Minister Kerryne. Well, let me tell you something. That is not a nutshell, it's a coconut shell. But she have a lot of things to pack in that coconut, brothers and sisters. Let's hear it for the MP for St. John's. Oh, they're supposed to be proud of that young lady. She's doing very, very, very well. She raised my nose. Yes. And so, talking about raising nose, brothers and sisters, put your hands together and invite to the podium the Prime Minister of Grenada, Caracua, Dick, Deacon Mitchell.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Robinson, the MC, and a pleasant night to Concord. a pleasant night to Concord. Well, I'm wondering if Minister James take all the energy. I thought she wasn't going to stop tonight, you know. So it's 9:25. We started at 7 o'clock. And there are 6 of us up here and tens of you in the crowd. So MC, I'm going to take your job. I'm going to invite the members of this beautiful audience to put a mic in the middle and to begin to ask your questions, make your comments, and make your interventions. I think we've been talking too much. It's a town hall, and the tongue needs to speak. So, MC, I'm bringing you back on stage. Let us start the question and answer comments section. Thank you.
Yes. The PM just tripped me up there, you know. Yeah, but I reach across there. Good. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would do me a favor, those of you who would like to ask questions, you see where the mic is in the middle there, right? So line up. I see the lady in that orange right by the mic already. Yep. So if you want to have a conversation, ask a question, make a comment, please line up behind her. Young lady in the pink. Come on, a little closer. Right. So let me see that line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Good. We're going good. So, my dear, yes, you have the microphone.
Okay, I would like to say good night to everyone. The
Night.
head table, good night. Before I make my comment, I would like to ask the people in St. John's if there is any other tourist site in St. John's area we know about active besides Concord.
Black Cave.
Wait. Active besides Concord. Yes. Come on, stop. Tourism, or tourists as it is said, tourists supposed to be everyone's business.
Yep.
As it is said. But here in St. John especially, we have 3 sites which is very poorly maintained in Concord. Most recognized, we have the falls. No roads. Because there is now is to the
no
visitors,
roads, you say?
It's like tracks. What we
Okay.
have presently, it's like tracks.
Okay. Yeah. Try to speak in the mic so we can hear clearly. Yeah.
Okay. Until you get to the end of the road, which they put the cart before the horse. So at the end of the road, you have a big turning area, but you have very little access to get there. Okay? Then we have Fed-on Camp, which is just beyond. No roads, no track, barely anything. Beyond that, we have Grand Etang Lake. No trail paths, no nothing. It's active. It is active. They're all active. Okay? Then we have no phone service. No phone service, no internet service, no electricity up at Concord. First of all, I should have said, my name is Nordica Hines. I'm a farmer and a business owner up at the Concord Waterfall. Almost everywhere you go nowadays, the human beings, before they reach, the first thing they will pull out is their phone. First thing they will pull out is their phone on arrival. Anyway, right? Then to make a purchase, anywhere in the world, somebody will ask you, do you take cards? It's like a joke. To us up at the waterfall, it's like a joke. There is no electricity. In this modern days, to tell someone, there is no electricity, we can't take cards. There is no internet service. All right, we go in there. We have the Black Sand Beach right there. No road to that. We have the cave, no path. I wouldn't say no road or no track. There is nothing to that. I would like to know if there is anything in place, Mr. Minister, anything at all, especially for the falls and the tracks, which is there now. I know for years this has been a lot of mamagism, and we're not taking it anymore. We don't want to take it anymore. We need progress. We need to be empowered, especially if something was supposed to happen going up to that road with concerning tourists or any accident. And you have been there. You have seen the road. You have seen how dangerous it is. We would have been washed, rinsed, and put out to dry. Thank you very much. Let's know what's in place.
Thank you. You want to respond? Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for that, Ms. Hines. I know the passion and I know you very well, and I know that these are genuine concerns, not only that you would have observed, but hold the mic, stand up. Right, can you hear me? Right, so I know it's not only issues that affect you personally, but I know when you speak on behalf of a community that's up there in Mountain Road. I've walked Mountain Road several times, and I know the challenges. I made a commitment on the campaign trail, if you remember, that we are going to try our best to see how we can get phone and internet connectivity up there, because you said if something was to happen. But might I remind you that a lot of young people lost their lives in Concord Falls, and one of the reasons why they were not able to call the ambulance or the emergency is because of no phone access, no internet access. So I know very well, and I sympathize with the people there who lost loved ones at the falls. So emergencies and situations like that did happen before. So it is something that we are working on. It is not something that has been consolidated as yet. So you didn't hear about it, no, because I am not too sure on it as to when we would get the works advancing on it. But the conversations has commenced with Grenlec, with the phone, the internet company, and so to ensure that we get connectivity up there. So the roads is noted. We need to expand our roads. Granite Tongue Lake, it's a collaborative effort because it's boundary our ministry through over by Mount Plaisy area there, but substantively it's in the St. Andrew constituency. So we have to collaborate on that there. I did take that into consideration, but it is noted. The Fedon camp, as I said, history is a thing for me. So Fedon will be expressed and go more in depth at a next town hall in another place where Fedon is located. So Fedon camp is noted. And of course, the no-card service. So we are working on that. Right. So I will turn you over to the Minister for Infrastructure to just elaborate a little on it, and then we'll go on to the next.
All right. Now we're getting there. Okay, good. So good night, everyone, again, and good night, is Ms. Hines. Right. Good night, Ms. Hines. Pleasure to meet you. So let me start by saying I agree with you that enough of the excuses have been made. But we've been in office only 14 months, so I want to thank you for highlighting the challenges that exist in Concord. So Concord is a tourism site, and the tourism sites should be managed by the Ministry of Tourism. It is clear from what you just said that the management is less than adequate. And so I am giving you this government's commitment to make sure that we begin to tackle the issues that are there. Now, I'm going to make this point also.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want us to miss it.
On the 26th of September, St. John will be having its budget consultation, and I want you all to come out because you need to understand how government works, and we need to understand how you get things done in your community. If you don't come to the budget consultation, and I'm happy that you've raised the issues here, if you don't bring to our attention that there's no internet in Concord, that the road is bad, that there's no electricity up there, then it will not get into the budget. And don't assume that because I'm the Prime Minister, I'm supposed to know. And don't assume that because this is your MP, she's supposed to know. That is why we're having the town hall. That is why we're having the budget consultation. And so, if you bring it to our attention, then your MP now knows, I now know. So as Minister for Infrastructure, and with your MP, we could then say, okay, We need to send somebody to measure the road. We need to decide whether it's concrete or whether it's asphalt. We need to know the cost of it. And then we could put in a budget to say, we're fixing the road in Concord in 2024. This is the cost of it, and it's in the budget. And your MP could then come and say to you, for 2024, the road will be fixed. That is how it works. So we need you to be part of the process. We need you to help the MP identify, because remember, everybody in St. John probably have an issue that they need addressed. And so your MP has to get a list of them, and then she has to work with you to prioritize which get done in which year. So I completely agree with you that for one of Grenada's most known tourist attraction sites, that if the road is awful, and it's been that way for a long time, and if you don't have basic infrastructure like electricity and internet, that is not good enough. And I am saying to you, it will be done. And there are other government agencies, so I'm calling them out so that they can hear. We have the National Telecommunications Regulatory Authority, or Commission, the NTRC. There's something called a Universal Service Fund. And the purpose of that fund is a tax on Digicel and Flow. The purpose of that fund is to make sure that areas in Grenada which doesn't have telephone or internet service can get telephone and internet service. So I'm making a public call to our commissioners on the NTRC. You've heard Ms. Hines say there's no internet, there's no telephone service in Concord. So I'm putting them on notice. If the central government can do it, they have to use the tax money that they're collecting to make sure that they do it. All right? So I am giving you the assurance that it is something we will tackle, and it is something that we will work with you to make sure that it happens. And I appreciate the comment about the credit card, because frankly, any tourist site in Grenada, except those that are really remote, should in fact put our vendors and other service providers in a position where they should be able to be paid once people show up. And as you said, that is how you get paid, with a credit card and with internet service. So thank you very much for your comments.
And just before we take the first one, thank you, Prime Minister, for your commitment. Just before we take the next question, I wanted to also add, Ms. Hans, you didn't mention it, but I just wanted to add it because it was in the list of things, and I'm certain that my spirit is telling me that somebody is probably in the line to ask that question with regards to the same venue, Concord Mountain Road. There is a road they call Kobari Road. Anybody knows that road? Right, so my spirit is telling me that somebody might have asked that question. Kobari Road is one of the roads that I pledged and I made a commitment to rehabilitating, and that will come as part of the 2024 budget plans for infrastructure. So Kobari community residents over there, your road is safe and secure for 2024. So I just wanted to add that because you brought it up and it's in the same area.
Over to you, my dear.
Pleasant good night to the members of the head table. Protocol already been established, and also to my fellow community members. So tonight I'm going to be very brief. First of all, I want to say that I thoroughly enjoyed the discussion last night on Beyond the Headlines about TVET and the importance for youth development in Grenada. I myself am very much involved in TVET because I do teach fashion and design. And I just want to start my points by saying that I think it's high time that we return TVET to our community centers, Black Bay Community Center being one of the first ones. All right? Now, the reason why I'm saying that, I remember as a little girl, my mother used to go down to Black Bay Community Center to learn soft skills. She made teddy bears and stuff down there through TVET or classes or courses, short courses. She also learned how to do cake decorating down there as well. That was a lot of years ago. I myself started teaching sewing down there from time to time, but when I teach the class, all I use is the old table tennis table as our cutting table inside the community center because we do not have the infrastructure. And I think it's time that we actually start using our community centers and returning them back to the centers where people can go and learn soft skills. A person like myself with my skill set should be able to deliver to the community that that skill of sewing so that the person will be able to better themselves. And I'm sure there are a lot of other community members who are very skilled in other areas who will be willing to also share their skills with young persons or anyone else who is willing to learn. However, to facilitate that, we will need a classroom environment. So with all the points that I like to make whenever I speak, I don't like to just talk about the problems. I like to give a solution. My husband and I have been in talks about this for at length, and we have decided that if we'll be able to get some raw materials, my husband is willing to build at least 2 long tables that we can use for classroom space within the community center. We might be able to even throw in maybe a whiteboard or a blackboard. And I'm also considering that instead of just doing things with soft skills, maybe we might get a shoemaker. Somebody wants to learn crochet. Crochet, as people have been asking about crochet class and so on. We could do that. But we also would need a kitchenette for community events. We want to have a little queen joy. We want to have maybe church, a gathering. We need a small kitchenette area that we can use. We might be able to get people to build cupboards and stuff, but what we would need to facilitate that is the raw materials. So if my husband and I can get the raw materials, so at least start. He has said he's going to give his time to make 2 tables if he gets raw materials to do that. So as I said, we like solutions. Another thing about the community center, there is a small termite infestation at the back of the building. I've been looking at that. The nest is forming right below the roof. Now, prevention is better than cure. It's easier to get rid of a termite nest than to have to redo the entire roof of an entire 2-floor community center. That's going to put us in too much expense. So I do believe and hope that we'll be able to get someone who can eradicate that pest problem before it gets worse. Another thing, the Black Bay Beach. We know that we are all feeling the effects of climate change right now because it's so hot. But right now, Black Bay Beach, we're losing Black Bay Beach people. And those of you who have been down there for a while, we're losing it big time. It breaks my heart because as a little girl, I would go down there almost every Sunday with my mom. And a lot of the young men, they have the little cooks down there, the little gatherings down there, and so on. It is the same area at Congo children just go to look at the Black Bay Cave when my mom used to teach. They used to bring the children there to look at the Black Bay Cave. But right now, the beach is gone. There was 1 building on the beach. That has gone. If you all want to see the devastation, you could go on my page, A Farmer's Daughter. I do have posts and videos to show you where it's at. And someone made a suggestion under the post that we can get mangrove trees to plant in the area. So my solution to this problem for the Black Bay Beach, it's gone. It's terrible, okay? If we can get people to allow us some mangrove trees, and please throw in some grape trees, the sea grapes, because I like to eat sea grapes. That's just for me. Other people, if you want, yeah, but we need the mangrove trees to stop the erosion because pretty soon we're just losing the coastline. It's terrible. So for those who cannot make it down, Minister, if you're not able to make it down, I'll be more than happy to send you the images and the videos so you can see what we can do. We can join together and see how we can go out. And the last thing I want to talk about is the Louise Farm Road. As a farmer myself, if we could just get the tractor to just come and regrade the road for us. It's a road that was already graded long before I was born, and it's very difficult for us farmers, okay? It's very, very difficult for us farmers, so we're very excited about the road projects. We're thankful. Thank you so much for what you've been doing in the communities. We appreciate what you've done even right behind Paul Park Road. Thank you so much. But for a lot of us farmers, it's very difficult. I look at my father, he's getting into age, and him trekking that road to go to the garden is terrible, especially in the rain season. I don't want anything to happen to him or any of the other farmers. So if we could get the tractor, remember that big Caterpillar tractor that we brought up to just... So if we could bring it back so we could just grade that area. It don't have to be pitched right away, but if you can grade it, I'll be very grateful.
Thank you.
So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Before we get into answering that, I just want to say, folks, let's try to make our presentations shorter, right?
Yes.
So you have 1.5 minutes, so let's try and work with it.
Yes.
Right? Okay? Get to the point one time. Yes. Over to you to answer.
Ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to go in great details. My office is open to everybody and sundry. Most persons have my number. If you don't have my number, my staff is at the back. All aspects of the staff is there of the constituency. So if you want to leave a note with them, you can leave so in more details. Farmer's Daughter, ladies and gentlemen, just give a round of applause to Farmer's Daughter. I like her spirit. I like her spirit and I like her drives, and she loves her community. So thank you so much. The proposals that you asked for, the assistance that you asked for is well noted, and we'll have a sidebar on that because we communicate via WhatsApp. The mangrove planting at Black Bay Beach, I know that is one of two sites that we have black sand beach. For those who don't know, Black Bay Beach is a black sand beach. It's a gem. And it was something that I also expressed that I wanted to see what works can be done to that area. I cannot say what type of mangrove or if mangrove would be the best suited plant to ensure that we secure the coastal area. But I would seek the assistance from my ministry in collaboration with Ministry of Fisheries and so to see what we can do to bring some sort of rehabilitation to that area. So thank you very much for noting that. Malawi's Farm Road is something that is done under the Ministry of Agriculture to do. I am sorry that Minister wasn't here to elaborate more on that, but that is done to do as well. The TVET training in the community centers. So we have a full proposal. Stay tuned. You would see what the community centers look like. And I am not in no patchy business for community centers. And I believe that St. John and Guave as well, because Guave is the only place that don't have a community center. We need one. And we just don't want to rehabilitate it or build community centers for building its sake and for rehabilitating its sake. So the government has a proposal for TVET training, skills training and development. And so I implore on you guys as well to come together to form committees, to form councils, so that when we do the infrastructural works needed on these badly devastated structures, that you don't go back to being in it from it is now. So now is the time for you, while you wait on government to assist with the infrastructure needs of the community centers, Gerald baby, now is the time for you to gather more people and say, let me come together. What training is needed in the area? Because while mommy might have made teddy bears before, and while she might have do cake decorating before, is that skills that we want to encourage? Are there more skills that we can add on? That is the question that we need to ask. Now is the time for you to lobby, come together as a group, do the ground research, come up with 5 at least or more as to what type of training that the people in that area would like, so that when the community centers is completed, we go right into action and we use our community centers. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Yes, over to you, ma'am.
A pleasant good night to the head table and to everybody inside here. First of all, I want to applaud the government for doing so much in such a short time.
I'll give you an extra minute for that.
And tonight I'm feeling real proud of my representative for St. John. I will not be long. I was out of the island for a little while. On my return, I visited the office. And sometimes I want to believe that St. John's has the most poor and vulnerable people. Because the pile of applications for housing, toilet, seed, and all the works that are in St. John's presently. I'm not sure how much the ministry is taking at a time. I'm not sure if the ministry ain't bothering with us in St. John, but I find the pile is very high. So I don't know which minister is responsible for, I don't know if it's Ms. Thomas. Could you help us out, please, in St. John's? So the amount will go down a little bit. Thank you. I had asked a question some time ago in our branch meeting. I did not get an answer as yet. I'm not sure if I could get it tonight. How many persons from St. John benefited from the stimulus package? And before I sit, I I am a retiree, and I'm not sure how soon the retirees will be getting their 4%, because I haven't received mine as yet. I need to buy medication. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I would also share. Can you hear me? Ladies and gentlemen, everybody can hear me? All right. So we really want to listen more than we speak in the room, right? So that we hear each other very well. So I would speak on the first point expressed by you, Teacher Pearl, and then I would probably leave it open for any other minister who have accurate data, but I can only speak for what I have with me. So we have quite a number of applications for housing assistance, as well as bathroom and toilet assistance, and persons who would like to benefit from the SEED program, right? Almost, I see on a weekly basis every Thursday in the office, just under sometimes 60 for the least in a Thursday. And 59 out of that 60 who would come on a slow Thursday is housing or bathroom and toilet. So it's a dire need. The housing assistance program alone cannot secure that need. We would need something much more transformative. So we're looking into that. You know our promise of our Grenadian-style homes, and we have done the preliminary works to look into it to see how best we are going to spread it across the constituencies. And so with St. John having the most, right, Prime Minister? And so we're working on that. But to date, we have a total number of applications submitted for the housing assistance program awaiting ministerial approval. The total of that is 53 applications awaiting ministerial approval for housing assistance. For bathroom and toilet, we are awaiting 80 application approvals. The total number of houses we've been able to complete through the housing assistance program is 17. Everybody listening? I feel like I'm losing my voice, so I don't want to shout, right? And then for bathroom and toilet completed and works ongoing is total into 7. So, of course, ladies and gentlemen, the need, what did I say? The need go beyond the budget. So not every application, although it is inside awaiting the ministerial approval, not every application would be approved in time for this year's budget. So some would be rolled over to next year. Yes, government can do everything alone, but we are trying. Don't mind what is being said out there that the program has ceased, it stopped, the program is ongoing. It takes a while for the ministry to process the application. Hats off to them for doing a good job and for doing it for St. John. We would like for the application process to be a bit more smooth. That in itself, it's coming soon. We have really restructured the program tremendously, and I'm looking forward to what 2024 would have in store for that program. So all of the challenges that the program faces now, it has been looked at, reviewed, and there is a proposed plan as to how we develop it as we advance into 2024. So we're going to work on that. And I'll turn over to Prime Minister.
All right, thank you. I'm going to address the CES grant program. I can't give you the absolute numbers of persons who benefited from St. John, but what I can tell you is give you the breakdown of the percentage of the total amount of money that was spent or distributed to persons in St. John. And since I'm at it, I'm going to give it for each parish so that you understand. A total of $8 million was distributed through the CES program. 40% went to the parish of St. George. 18% went to the parish of St. David. 17% went to the parish of St. Andrew. 7.6% went to the parish of St. John. 6.8% went to the parish of St. Patrick. 4.9% went to the parish of Kerryne. And 4.5% went to St. Mark. So in dollar figures, St. George's got 3.2 million, St. David 1.4, St. Andrew 1.4, St. John 615,000, St. Patrick 548, Carriacou 395,000, and St. Mark 364,000. Now, part of the challenge with economic development is exactly what I've called out. The bulk of economic activity in Grenada is taking place in St. George's. Right? And if we are going to improve this, it means deliberate action has to be taken to address St. Mark, Carriacou, St. Patrick, and St. John. Because certainly St. John is still ahead of St. Patrick, Carriacou, and St. Mark in terms of the program itself. And when we designed the program, we did in fact try to specifically target people from St. Mark, Carriacou, St. Patrick, and St. John. But the number of applicants which came in from these 4 parishes was significantly less than that which came in from St. George, St. Andrew, and St. David. And on that basis alone, statistically, it would mean a lot more people from St. George, St. David to a lesser extent, and St. Andrew to a lesser extent would take place. I just want to comment on the housing and bathroom and toilet programs. And I want to say something because I want us to be honest if we're going to develop Grenada. The government doesn't give you a car. It doesn't buy a car and give it to you and tell you to drive it. The idea that a government could give you a house and tell you live in it and be able to sustain that without you paying for it. Any government that tell you that, they're lying to you. You could choose to believe the lie and live in dreamland, or we could have an adult conversation about what our parents and foreparents taught us, which is, if you get the opportunity for education, you educate yourself, you work hard, and you try and build your house. It doesn't mean the government can't help you. But the idea that the government could give you affordable housing to live in for free, you're in dreamland. And we need to stop dreaming, and we need to start working together to make sure that we all have affordable housing that is sustainable. So I want to explain why you're seeing all these long lines and why it's not working. The program that we inherited for housing assistance is a program, a policy, that says if you qualify, and I think you have to be making $1,200 or less. So let's start right there. It meant anybody over $1,200, you're not qualifying. If you're making less than $1,200, assuming you fit every other condition, you could get up to $17,000 worth of material. That's the maximum. And then when you get the material, you have to try and fix the house or repair the house yourself. Now, $17,000 cannot build any house anywhere in Grenada. It might help you repair a house. But in many instances, some of the homes are in such a state that even with $17,000, you cannot complete the repairing of the house. That's just the material. Why are you going to repair a house if you don't have labor? So the next step was that a brigade system was created. I don't know if it's more than one in St. John, but in St. David's there was only 2 brigades, 6 people or 7 people. And if they decided that you didn't have the ability to repair the house yourself, this brigade was paid to come and help you repair the house. Now, we all know, even if you're trying to build a small wooden house, it probably will take, with 5 or 6 men, a month, 2 months, maybe even 3 months. And the average house in Grenada, well, I think Mr. Glean left, but all contractors will tell you it's taking you 6, 8, 9, sometimes a year and a half to build a house. So do the math. If you only have 2 people, 2 groups of people, trying to help you repair houses, how many houses are they repairing in a year? Maybe 4, maybe 5, maybe 6. If you think St. John have applications, when I got into office, there were 300 and something plus people asking for housing assistance in St. David's. There was 170 something asking for bathroom and toilet. With $17,000 and with a fixed budget, when I did the math, we were only going to help about 10 people. Now, if I help 10 out of 300, what the other 290 will say? So I'm saying that's government policy. That policy cannot solve the needs of the majority of people who genuinely need assistance. So that means we have to get a program that is much more ambitious, much larger, but it also means that we have to appreciate that building a house is usually a once-in-a-lifetime thing that we have to work hard to try and achieve ourselves with the government help. And so this government said it was going to build 500 Grenadian homes as a start, and we are committed to doing so. We've spent a lot of time working on this, going through it. We're in the process of identifying sites where these homes can be built. We have to partner with the private sector to be able to build those homes. As I said, on average, it takes you 6 to 8 months to build a house. So imagine trying to build 500 of those. So we have to be honest. Even if we come by the MPs and we fill in those forms, in genuinely kind of major repairs to homes and improvement, this is a long-term process. And we have to be honest, and we have to understand that, and we have to be patient and be able to work with the government and work with yourself and your family and so on to be able to own your own home. So we are committed to the 500 homes. We are committed to trying to distribute the homes that were gifted to the people of Grenada by the Chinese government. The reason there's been delays in getting this done, one, when we got the homes, there were no cupboards and closets in them. So we had to budget this year to put in the cupboards and closets. We've also discovered that we have a water challenge. For example, in the case of St. David's, we have 200 and something apartments built. NAWASA's normal water pressure cannot feed these apartments. So if we put people in them, and we know what happens, everybody going to work 8 o'clock in the morning, they all bathing using the toilet, the rest of Current and LaCret will not get water. Or they will not get water. So it means now there was a program which was not readily told to us. We stumbled along it, where huge water tanks should have been erected at the sites. The water tanks are sitting in the stadium. So we now have to find the sites, we have to test the soil because water is heavy, and we have to be able to construct that. And then finally, you have apartments with 90 people, 90 apartments, on average that means 180 people, because most homes will have 2 or 3 people, and there's no place for people to wash their clothes. There's no laundry. So it means we are going to have to construct large laundry facilities because, again, if you have 300 or 400 people living in a small area, they must be able to do laundry. Now, I point out those 3 things because if we don't plan and think about all of the things we're doing, we're going to be making 1 step forward and 4 backward. The next issue is sewage. If you have 400, 200 toilets in a place and you flush them, the number 1 and the number 2 have to go somewhere. We just repaired in Lacalome, after 13 years, the sewage system is the same thing. And the houses in Lacalome are not as dense as what we've built in Boucherjou and in LaCret and elsewhere. And for 13 years, you had raw sewage running in the drains and people having to live and smell that. So I'm saying all of this to say, housing construction is usually an investment. It's wealth creation. It's usually once in a lifetime. If you're lucky, you might be able to get a second home. It's usually something that you can pass on to the next generation and to improve your standard of living. So we cannot build a housing system in Grenada where we say to people, the government will give you housing. Because it's taxpayers' money. So we also have to encourage people, especially able-bodied young men and women. Right? It's one thing to help senior citizens, to help disabled persons, etc., etc. It's another thing to have 20-something-year-old people fit, able, and not prepared to work to get a homesick. So I'm saying this openly because we have to speak openly and honestly with each other about how you grow and develop the society. So we don't want to talk about St. John that it has the most poor people. We want to talk about St. John that it has the most persons who own their own homes in St. John. That is what we're aiming for. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
I'm here representing the Cameroon Indigenous Farmers, Cannabis Farmers Cooperative. Presently, I live in Chantemelle, but I'm an African. We all came on the same ship, so you know why. And tonight, I came here, and I feel very great of what I heard. Yeah, good Max, the MP. Keep your thumbs up. But there's an iceberg floating out there. And it didn't got ice, it got gold. And if you don't tap into that one, I think St. John's will really shine. And that one is the cannabis project, due for the St. John. The Cameroon Indigenous Cannabis Farmers Cooperative is looking at St. John to start the cannabis production industry in Grenada. And we're trying to allocate some lands in that area, and we're having a little ups and downs. We don't really asking the government for practical help to get the land. We got investors to purchase that sum of land. So all we need at this moment is the right of way to get the investors to purchase the land, to come in and do the soil tests and these things to get the operation moving. Because if you say transformation and economic building, agroeconomic building, cannabis is the way. That's the goal. That's the goal that's floating around St. John's. And we need to enhance it. And that's the reason I'm here tonight, you know. So I'm asking the Prime Minister and the MP to let's get working together with the Cameroon Cannabis Cooperative. And well, I got other one now. Right now, in the world, is reparation for black people. And you as the Prime Minister, when you came, before you came into office, you mentioned changing Grenada maybe to a republic state. You didn't say you will, but you said in your intention, you may. But I want to tell you this is the correct. We're tired with colonialism. We're very much. And if people here not supporting it, that means they do not understand the culture. We got to know where we're coming from, and we got to know where we are going. We cannot invest in with the people that shortchanging us for thousands of years. We got to make a correct move in this time. You did mention that you would walk in the spirit of Morris Bishop. Now, I'm a soldier, a revolutionary soldier, a soldier of the PRA. So I know, I know, you check the passion, just check the passion. And I know what it takes from the revolution to know the pitfalls that we had, and we need to go in the right step. I know the process might be slow, but I beg you to keep on that line. So, reparation, Republican, we got to move that way. Right? Secondly, yeah, well, everybody went in the book.
So, Ras.
Right? Everybody
Ras, well, you hear the people. And I don't want nobody to feel as though I am trying to rush, because honestly, when we do the town halls, we would like to hear everything. But my office is there. Today is Tuesday. I will be there on Thursday. So if you could be so kind, because I want to get as much feedback as possible. So if you would be so kind to make the last point short, so that we could encourage other persons to come to the microphone, because we spoke based on the last 2 points that you made. So that's the third one.
Yeah, all right.
We had a personal conversation on that. So you know what we discussed and what you promised that you was going to get, and you know, so we know we little business what we speak about, right?
I'm here because
so I don't know if Prime Minister would like to expound on any aspect, but I just wanted to just point that out, because I am mindful of the time. I am mindful that I've been up since 6:30 on Zoom meetings upon Zoom meetings. I went to a funeral and I'm here now, and my voice and my body is feeling a little bit beat. So I want to get as much people as possible. So if you feel as though you want to come by me Thursday to talk about the third point, we sit down on it. Or if you want to really make it in less than 1 minute.
Okay.
And I hope you appreciate that. And I'm not trying to rush you or disrespect your contributions in any way.
No, well,
all right?
Sometimes that's how it goes for us, you know.
No, you won't say that if you know who my partner is. So take that back.
All right. Well, no, generally, it's not about you, you know. It's not about you, you know. It's not about you. It's general, you know. That's what the community do.
Yes, we could do the last one.
Yeah,
Thank you very
Mr.
much.
Prime Minister, on cannabis again, it's important. It's important. See, they don't want to listen. Now, the past government had a policy on decriminalization, right? Now, in the CARICOM report, right, it is stated clearly that you cannot decriminalize or legalize marijuana for medical purposes only. You must consider recreational issue, spiritual issue. And we need that to be implemented through the Minister of, I'm glad the Minister of Health is here tonight because he's the man with that portfolio and the man to implement it. I'm glad they're here tonight to get that law amended so our sons and daughters who is presently being locked up for one spliff, that could be avoided until January of 2024 when certain things would be. And if we have to legalize marijuana, we must prepare our own strength in Grenada here. That's what the market asking for. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Russ.
Yeah, the next person can go ahead. I mean, Ras, I think I will just simply respond by saying I support republicanism, I support reparations, and I've clearly said I support the decriminalization of marijuana.
A pleasant good night to each and every one, the head table. I will deal with first things first. I must tell you that I want to appreciate the government for taking the decision to pay the gratuity and the pension. Yes, because I am now on pre-retirement. If you look around and you see the name, I didn't say my name because I'm going to come to that. Hubert Philbert. Don't blame me for that, please. I would have invested 34 years in this institution. This was my last class, where you see all the paintings and stuff. If you go on the outside, you'll see it too. I'm glad the young lady raised the point about the TVET program because I was the teacher of soft toys, so I taught her mother at the community center in Black Bay. Now, what I want to say to our people too is that we must take some time to pray for our leaders. They are human as well, and they have their lives. They have their challenges, and they have their low points, and they have their high points. We must remember to pray for our leaders. Yes? Now, I would have visited the parliamentary rep, so we have some discussions going. So I would not waste time on that. But one thing I want to let you know, Mr. Prime Minister, because of some things that were implemented in this country for many years, you have a challenge trying to eradicate it. So be prepared, because I know that when something becomes a habit, it is very difficult to break. So I'm just going to encourage you to be on your guard, because we're hearing all kind of thing. All kind of thing we're hearing. But I know that the present government is not Cinderella, fairy godmother, or godfather. So they cannot wave a magic wand and a pumpkin becomes a coach. It takes time. All right? Now, I want to say this to you. No government is responsible for the destruction or the damage to agriculture. We as a people destroyed agriculture. Yes? Now, the people or the landowners said to their children before, I work the land hard. You could remember somebody that said that their father worked the land and he never get rich.
We need to wrap up, so please.
Yeah. So We need to look at ways and means of encouraging agriculture. In the schools, we can get school children to write jingles and so forth. Calypsonians, the creatives, let them form jingles so that we reshape the minds of our people, because all they see in agriculture is dirty boots and dirty clothes or farming. But agriculture is more than just that. All right? To the MP, I want you to look at something here that is happening at Concord Government School. As I said to you, I worked here for 34 years. Concord Government School is having some problems with break-ins almost every single day. But I am perplexed. I want you to contact the Ministry of Education and find out where $6,000 went for cameras that were supposed to be erected in Concord Government School. All I'm seeing is camera frames. I've never seen a camera. We're not able to hold a thief. I'm retired. And finally, I want to say is that I don't know what's happening. People breaking open. I normally come here early. When I look at the kitchen that is broken into, I say to one individual who works there, don't go in there because you are contaminating evidence. Yet still he don't listen to me because I'm not the principal. So he goes inside as the police and try to find out if macaroni and flour are missing. I'm wondering if they are not covering up for somebody. So that's my thought. And I thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And thank you for your 34 years, sir. Thank you for the lovely murals we see around the place and so on. You sound like a real dedicated teacher. And for that, we thank you. So our next, yes.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
My name is Lester Kado from Concord St. John's. I want to touch on 2 points. One, I want to know about the payment of the Morris Bishop International Airport to Libya. And I want to know that certain people, we bought shares in the airport, and we are supposed to get back after 22 years of the airport, and we are not getting back that. All right? So I want to know, Mr. Prime Minister, if you could help me with something about that. And the next is the Concord Bridge. The Concord Bridge, the Forward Bridge. We have to look into that very, very, very serious. The bridge did not make to accommodate this heavy equipment. And trailer trucks is passing on this bridge. I don't want we to have something like Molyneux. If that bridge, God forbid, if this bridge fall down, where St. John's people will pass to go to St. George's. The last NDC government did a walk in Kubari Road, which someone talked about, and was able to concrete it to cure that bridge there. But when they get out of office, they say that's an NDC project, we're throwing it aside. And my concern, somebody from the ministry came up one time and happened to be in Ford. And they asked me if I know where Kubari Road is. I take them and I show them. Tell me they go get back to me. Up to this blessed day, nobody's get back. So, Mr. Workhouse, I want you to look into that. They call you all kind of name, but I call you the Workhouse.
Andy.
All right, Mr. Andy, the Workhouse. Andy, the Workhouse. So let we stop these trailer trucks with these tractors on them passing on this bridge. This bridge was only 1977. That's the last time this bridge did something on this bridge. 1977. They strengthened the bridge and nobody do no work on it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Yeah?
Want to? Yeah. So just briefly, you heard me, Mr. Kado, make mention to Kubari Road already. It doesn't matter who started or who, but what's important is who would finish the job, and I will. The Concord Bridge 4 roads has been an area that a project that was flagged, and it will be down to as a project for consideration for budget 2024. So that is done. And then I'll just pass over to Prime Minister if you would wish to give some remarks on the payment of the MBIA to Libya, and then shares bought from the airport.
All right, Mr. Kadu, as far as I'm aware, we do not owe any money to Libya on the... Well, let me rephrase that. We have an outstanding loan with Libya, which we have agreed to repay to them. I can't tell you off the top of my head whether the loan was specific to the airport or not. But the fact is, it's a long outstanding loan, not a lot of money, relatively. We agreed either late last year or early this year to settle the loan. We agreed the terms of repayment with Libya, and we intend to pay. Now, separately, bonds were issued to Grenadians who invested in the airport. If you are a bond holder, you can present your bond to the Ministry of Finance and the bond would be honored. So I don't know if you have a bond instrument or a family member does. So if you do, you
folks.
You can present it to the Ministry of Finance.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Good night to everyone.
Yes, good night.
I'm here as a member of the Blue Stars Sports and Cultural Club, a club that is active here in Concord and operates from Woodford to Old Road. We host different cultural and sporting events. We manage both the power park and the court in terms of the basketball court down there and the power park field in terms of the facility there. The light bills and stuff like that are vested with us. We have under 13, under 15 football team, both mixture of boys and girls. And we have conceived a program which we like to call the development of a holistic football player. Not only that the young people who engage in participating in the club gets to play football, but also gets an opportunity to be helped with their academics as well. We understand not everybody who comes out to play will be a great footballer or make it on in that venue, but while the kids are in our space, they should be helped with their academic endeavors. So we have conceived that program, and we have solicited laptops from some private entities, and a fund that is out of the UK has promised to give us some laptops, and we have engaged some of our retired teachers. And Mr. Philbert, as you are now home, we are hoping that we can engage you to come and partake in our program. We'll discuss that after. Right? So as some of our retired and some of our younger people, professionals in the area has agreed to volunteer some of the time to help in this program. But I don't want to sound like a broken record, and it's something that has been said already, but as I was standing in the line, I felt it necessary to make the point to compel that the biggest challenge we have now is a space or a home for these children to be provided with that assistance. So it is me now again employing that whether it be the community center or even a room in this institution that we can use on an afternoon or anywhere else within the space or road to Marigot that can be identified. We are maybe willing to pay minimal rent. And I do say minimal, since we are a non-profit organization and finances is usually a challenge. So any venue, whether it be retrofitting the community center in the near future or even the availability of a room here, I know the Minister of Education is not here, to conduct that program would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, give him a more lusty round of applause. because in my presentation I did pay my homage to Blue Stars, because when I just came into office, just about probably less than 2 months, Blue Stars was the first community group / organization that engaged me, and the engagement was so formal, so nice. The plans were so futuristic, and we did make commitments. So as I'm hearing the plans now, it's not the first time that I'm hearing it. I'm happy that you were able to confirm most of the things from where we had our last conversations, and of course we would go into more details when we have another one-on-one with regards to finding a home, so that these young children, these young people, men and women in the area, boys and girls, they can benefit from the initiative of Blue Stars. But thank you so very much to Blue Stars for your commitment to building the communities. Maurice, I love to see yourself and the others you have rallied with, Louisanne, Patrick and all of them, all the other guys there. And I forget the nice looking lady. She's also a staff in MIT now. So I know that you have the support of the ministry for implementation, mobilization and transformation. All right? So thank you so much. It's well noted, and I made a promise, and I would ensure that we see it through together as a team. So thank you for that.
All righty.
Good night to the head table. My name is Kerryne from Guelph. First point is, Mr. Rennie in Fisheries here still? This is straight to him. On the 28th of August, I heard Mr. Rennie talk about plans and projects on the jetty in Guelph. The 28th of August, to be exact, I was beaten by a dog on the jetty. So I would like Mr. Rennie, as this happened, to put more effort together with the security company that is there to have this place under rule and regulation. There is very, very out of order. Some people might like it, some people wouldn't like it. And the same conversation the guy was having, the security was having with the dog owner about the dog, and just passing, and the dog bit me on the left side. To Mr. LaCret, my good partner, we have a state-of-the-art facility in Guelph, which means Guelph Polyclinic. And there is a lot of facilities there to be open up. I don't know how soon the talk is, there is no staff and whatever. If even we have to get some from Cuba, land our way, if Grenadians don't want to work and we have to bring in, get staff, get the place up and running. This would always also be a boost for our MP, if we could get all or the majority of the facilities there up and running. To Mr. Williams and together the Prime Minister, in my opinion, I could be wrong, people might vex, Guelph is stagnant. Guelph is stagnant, not St. John's, Guelph. We have 2 projects which we could undertake in Guelph. I don't know, I'm stupid, I don't go in secondary school. The old road office, which is there as an eyesore on the main street, and the market. Government is paying thousands of dollars every month to people. And we have that building there, which would take a couple $1,000s to retrofit and fix it up and bring it up to speed. Guelph, we don't have, for tourists, we have a lot of tourists that come in St. John's. We don't have a proper restaurant in St. John's, in Guelph to be exact. We have the market. We could put a roof up, go up with the market, make a restaurant there, and lease it out. Government don't have to run it as what they do in Grenville. So, Mr. MIT, this would be with you. And you do a proper state-of-the-art restaurant and you lease it out. Revenue coming. And then if you have space, you could rent out a few booths. Okay?
All right. So thank you for your contributions, Mr. Schoon. I know you heard, or I hope that you didn't miss in my presentation when I made mention to the old Public Works building and the plans for it. So I just want to echo that again. I would leave health for health to speak on, But thank you for that. There is a proposal for the old fish market, and I want to place on record that I don't like. Remember, I start off saying that we must be careful with what we say. So we can't say Gov is stagnant when we have businesses who've been there more than the amount of years that have been on this planet, alive and kicking well. There is much more that can be done, but you would appreciate that it takes a process and it's a step. So thank you for highlighting some of those plans. Some of those have already been addressed in my constituency update. And I'll turn over to Minister for Health for the polyclinic update.
Thank you, Mr. Schoon, for your question. Please give Miss Yvonne my best regards when you get home. I'll appreciate that very much. The polyclinic is a state-of-the-art healthcare facility, and apart from the infrastructural works that we had to complete on the polyclinic upon coming into office, you do know that we have a human resource challenge. So just today, I sat with my entire policy team so that we can build out a human resource as well as a training plan for 2024 and what a budget for that is going to look like. Extended hours and improved services at the polyclinic is only going to come when we are able to outfit the other areas, and the other areas, speaking about the other medical or clinical areas in the polyclinic. When we're able to outfit that from a human resource perspective, we can definitely have improved hours. Currently, sir, from Saturday to Monday, the polyclinic is open for 24 hours. Yes, we do have an ambulance challenge. That is simply because for the 24 hours the polyclinic is open from Saturday to Monday, you do have the ambulance for those 24 hours Saturday, 24 hours Sunday into Monday. But during the week is only on call outs. The ambulance goes out because the ambulance cannot go out with an orderly only. It must also go out with a registered nurse or an RN. And if there isn't one, or if there's only one that's on shift at that particular point in time, the ambulance is not able to go out. So we did look at our nursing needs today, our orderly needs, etc., and all other human resource needs across the entire sector with a plan for training and building that out for 2024. So I am hopeful that places like the polyclinic, as well as Grand Bram Medical Station, etc., is going to be able to have their quota of clinicians so that they can function effectively round the clock. Minister just mentioned Grand Roy in my ear. The Community Health Department, in putting forward their budget challenge, their budget wants and needs for 2024, did flag the Grand Roy Medical Station down for refurbishment. If you realize that for the first year in office, we were able to smart 6 medical stations. A part of the smarting, to be honest, that we missed was also the implementation of solar lighting, so solar panels, and also solar generators. We have a proposal for that coming so that in case that current goes, we're able to still function effectively as a healthcare facility. But Grand Roy is down for refurbishment, and part of that refurbishment is going to be the smarting of the Grand Roy Medical Station. All right?
Thank you, Minister LaCret. Over to you, sir.
Yes, good night, head table. Mr. Chairman, brothers and sisters here tonight. I'm here to justify three problems. First, to Mr. Prime Minister. Mr. Prime Minister, I just want to find out what is your correct name. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. Now I know that your name is Deacon Mitchell. I just hope everybody in the audience know what is the meaning of a deacon. A lot of people have different opinions based on what they believe. But as far as I believe a deacon is acting somebody in a church. Take care of the finance part and a lot of other things. One, this is my explanation.
Sir.
Everybody have their own explanation based on the education level. As far as I'm concerned, Prime Minister and ministers, both of them have different understanding based on people level, education level. Mr. Prime Minister, the reason why I ask you this question, the day of the election, when you won the election, I feel happy when you announce that the Spirit leave to St. George's, to St. John's, to St. Mark's, St. Patrick's, Overton, fly up and drop to Kareku. I feel happy when I speak about spirit. Because once you speak about spirit, it tells me that you are a spiritual man. And when Christ died, he's saying to leave the Spirit with us to teach us all truths. So I expect you to be a spiritual man. Now my question is, my name is Stephen Sandy, and I'm from Concord in St. John's. I'm a machine operator and a farmer. Now, I use this to work in the public works. And Prime Minister, what I noticed over the couple of years in this country here in Grenada, a lot of experienced people who have experience who could teach the young ones, basic things about the future, they've been get left out. And to you, Mr. Minister of Communication of Works, I want to direct that question to you. How much, you as a young man, how much zigzag does you have in you to teach the young people in this country to be machine operator, truck drivers, agriculture, in all type of view? And the reason why I ask you this question, because I speak to a lady that have 8 children. And she was saying to me, it burned my heart when she said that. The lady said, the Chinese teaching their children to make toys and cars and all different things for we children to play with. And I asked her, I said, what are you teaching your children to do? She laughed at me. And the reason why I asked her the question is only because I know that the NIS announced a couple of years ago and saying in time to come they wouldn't have enough money to pay the elderly people who retired from work. And I want to ask you, Mr. Prime Minister, try and invest in the youths. Try to invest in the youths, because if you're not investing in the youths, who's going to work to put money in the treasury for the young people that are working today to get salary? The next point I want to raise is that the elderly people, Mr. Prime Minister, I realize the elderly people get left out. I realize the young children, and even in the hospital, I don't know if Minister of Health is here.
Come close to the microphone.
I don't know if Minister of Health is here. But we're losing a lot of old people who have strength in them could teach still. And the young generation that we're losing in the hospital. Look, a lady went in the hospital last time and she almost died. We're losing too much of children in the hospital, and this is the future of tomorrow. This is the children who have to take up the manna of tomorrow. So, Mr. Prime Minister, let's pay respect to that. Now in St. John's, Mr. Prime Minister, we doesn't have a bypass road in St. John's if something happened. I remember a couple of years ago, an accident took place, and going over, people saying we could do something, but there is a road in Mondo, as the minister say. She planning to fix the road to reach in Mondo. But I asking the Prime Minister, if you could speak to the Prime Minister, the Minister in St. John's and the Minister in St. George's, if they could come together and build a road from Mondo to reach in Willis, so that if in case something happened here, traffic could pass through Mondo and go through Willis.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir.
So that's all I have to say.
Yes, thank you very much. And we'll take a last speaker, and then we'll do one response. That's okay? All right.
A pleasant good night to the head table. My name is Marcia Jones. Marcia Honore Jones. Tonight I stand here feeling what I should say. I know I shouldn't say that, but coveting what would have happened in Montgranby with the water project, right? The word of God said, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's good. But I covet it because why? I'm from Concord, right? And what I realized, or what I understood from a panel discussion that I had on the 16th of April, right in this school here, that the water from Concord Waterfall go all the way down to the airport, right? And I understand that Concord Waterfall should be the second largest flow of water in Grenada. And I feel bad to know that we in Concord could able to give water right down to only hotels and the airports and everything. And we cannot get some form of incentive for such. I want to know that my community to stand with me tonight and say, yes, we need some incentive because it's a lot of water going down there. And only to know that the water is going down to the airport, to the feeding the different hotels, and Brooklyn cannot get water during the course of the day. It is not nice, right? It is really not nice. I think we should be able to get something for ourselves in the community, right? And when I said get incentive, not for me, but the community get something. I don't know what it should be. I cannot give a recommendation of what, but I would like to see that happen. I cannot give a suggestion. I hope that persons who are hearing me could come up with such a suggestion as I throw it out. Lower, well, look at a historian here standing here, sitting here, said, lower the rates of water for us, right? Because Montgranby, I had to hear the minister, my parliamentary rep, my minister said that Montgranby has their own water plant, right? Gary that give them, okay, I'm here in history now. So if we could get something, I will be very, very happy. I hope it digests. Somebody would have heard it. Again, I want to say that I always like to talk about the Elderly Missionary Support Group. I am very strong behind the elderlies. Wherever I go, I talk about my elderly, you know, and I will like to speak about what the Elderly Missionary Support Group is doing at this time. We are embarking on a spiritual queen show. Most people will ask, what's a spiritual queen show? But it's a queen show that we exhibit in the queens of the Bible. And as I heard my sister Nordica speak, these young girls from 16 to 21, they are from the different communities. And we will be showcasing them in the different areas like Concord Waterfall. Woodford has a mill, that's a historical site where they used to have sugarcane growing thing. They're making rum and other things.
We need to wrap up, Sister Jones.
Yeah,
So.
and the different, I'm just saying the different sites. And the cave and those areas, we want to see something happen. If it cannot happen through the government, maybe NGOs or the church can lobby to see such thing happen. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Sister Jones.
So, ladies and gentlemen, give Honoré Nos another round of applause. Those of you who knows her know her very well, you know she would come. If she has a project or anything that she wants done in the community, she would come to you and ask for your support as small as you could give. And she's very passionate. She's a passionate woman that I admire from Concord. So just thank you for all that you have done and you continue to do for our elders in the area. We have discussed ways on how we could support. I could support through me being your MP in the area. I expressed how thankful and appreciative I am of you in your celebration, celebrating your anniversary, 17 years in service. So you know how I feel about your passion and how I appreciate what you are doing for some of our forgotten ones in the constituency and Grenada. So I just want to say thank you for your job. Well done. Continue to do it. And you have my support 100% in any way that you would like support. I will try my best to be there physically. If there's any other things that you would like, I will try my best to facilitate your request. So thank you so much. I am not, no sir, anyone. I will really point out that you made mention too, but it is noted. I can't speak for now, sir, and you can't compare yourself with Montgomery. So I'll just leave that point regarding the water there for now. So we put in a little placeholder on that point, but it's well noted. Thank you for that. Mr. Sandy? Mr. Sandy still inside the building? Mr. Sandy gone? Oh, you're right here. Okay, well, you know you came to my office and we had lengthy discussions as to what we would like to do. I await you to come back to tell me what you need of me. So Thursday, I'm expecting at 7:30 a.m. You're the first person I'm seeing so that we can make some waves in the community, all right? Because you promised me some information and I'm waiting on it. But your concerns are well noted. It is in government agenda list of items for the rest of the year and into 2024 and onwards to invest in skills training, specifically to heavy equipment, and you say in machine operation and so. So that is something that we do have on the agenda. As I mentioned earlier, we recently concluded the first rounds of consultation as to what type of skills training that we would want to get done and so. So once we are able to iron out all what we've brainstormed already, you would hear more of that. So stay tuned. I heard you made mention that you are a machine operator and a farmer. I don't know if you are licensed or certified, but if it is that you are licensed as a machine operator, Mr. Sandy, I would be appreciative if you would pledge your support to being one of the trainers that would train once government has ironed out and we are ready to commence our training. I hope that you would come on board. And maybe you could take the initiative as well too, to look in the community in that part of the constituency to see who are other machine operators who wouldn't mind giving service to the community so that we could start to build a registry of all machine operators in St. John. So when we're ready to roll out, we don't have that problem of finding persons who can train these young people. So thank you for making mention of that. It is in our overall scopes for policy development in the country and the constituency. So I am waiting on you to come back to me with what we discussed last time, this Thursday, and I'm waiting on you to give me back the names of all the machine operators, or as much as you could get, to help with government policy on skills training and development. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's late, and we thank all of you for the contributions that you have made and the fact that you have remained to this time. But, yeah, I know. But, we have Swaney, who is going to do a vote of thanks. But before we do that, I would just want to ask the Prime Minister if there are any final message he would like to leave with us. And then I will hand over to Swaney. So let me tell all of you good night, because after this, Swain takes over and we're good to go. Thank you very much for being a wonderful audience. Have a blessed night. Take care. I'm going to get something to eat.
All right. Thank you very much, Randall. I want to just end by repeating, for those who didn't hear, that the budget consultation for St. John is on the 26th of September. So please, next Tuesday, at the Anglican School. So please come out, encourage others to come out so that you can take part in the 6 p.m. So that you can take part in the contribution, so that you can help shape the things that you want to happen in St. John. That's one. In case you missed it this morning, the official launch of our independence celebration, the 50th anniversary of our independence, starts on 19th of October. That's when the celebrations will commence. And the 19th of October will also be declared a national holiday, henceforth. So I'm just making those two announcements. The independence activities will last for the entire year. Once the launch takes place, the logo will be unveiled, the theme song will be unveiled, and the calendar of events going all the way up to February, and then those after February will also be unveiled. I just want to say, for after February, each parish, excluding St. George, because they would have a lot of the events leading up to the 7th, each parish will have their own independence activity or activities. It's up to the parish, the MP, and the leaders in the parish. So St. John, there are things that make you unique. So it will be an excellent opportunity for you to plan and organize, whether it's a series of events, a month-long celebrations. It's up to you. And budgetary support will be provided to the people to make sure that we can have a fantastic parish event for St. John and all of the other parishes within St. David as we commemorate our 50th anniversary of independence. It is going to be a remarkable one-year celebration, so we encourage everyone to volunteer to take part in the events as we celebrate our journey to 50 and as we move forward for the next 50 years. So thank you very much for coming out tonight. It's a pleasure seeing all of you. The fact that you've stayed this late is testimony to your commitment to Concord and the surrounding villages, as well as St. John, and to your hard-working and committed MP. So I want to thank her for the hard work she's been doing and for the representation of the people of St. John. Thank you very much.
First, I recognize the presence of the esteemed members at our head table. Honorable Deacon Mitchell, Prime Minister of Grenada. Honorable Kerryne James, MP of Parliament for St. John. Honorable Jonathan LaCret, Minister of Health, Wellness and Religious Affairs. Honorable Andy Williams, Minister for Mobilization, Implementation and Transportation. Honorable Gloria Thomas, Minister for Social Development and Gender Affairs. And Honorable Delma Thomas, MP for St. Andrew North West. To our senior public officers, special invited guests, our viewing audience online, and everyone else present, I extend my warmest greetings. A pleasant good evening. No, night is when you're going to bed. Good evening. I stand before you not just as a field research assistant to our beloved MP for St. John, but as a proud constituent of St. John, deeply humbled and grateful for this transformative initiative. The energy in this room and the passion in our discussion tonight are a testament to the power of community and the spirit of St. John. The first town hall meeting bore the title, Your Voice, Our Future. And indeed, tonight was a vivid manifestation of this sentiment. We saw a vision being transformed into reality, words being turned into action, and most important, the constituents of St. John being placed at the heart of every decision. But this event could not have been a success without the assistant, commitment, and the support of several persons. Firstly, I take a moment to express our deepest gratitude to our Prime Minister and all other government ministers who took the time to make this town hall a success. To the Honorable Kerryne James, your tireless efforts in serving our community do not go unnoticed. Your commitment to the well-being of our constituents is commendable, and I am grateful for your continued. I express appreciation and recognize the members of the Town Hall Planning Committee. Your decisions Your dedication, hard work, and meticulous planning have made this event not just possible, but a resounding success. To the fantastic staff attached to the office of our Parliamentary Representative St. John, your unwavering support and commitment have been the backbone of this initiative and an example of great stewardship to our constituency. A heartfelt thank you goes out to you, too. Now let's talk about the fun part. We are teased with the promise of game-changing initiative for our beloved St. John tonight. The anticipation in the room was palpable, and I, for one, can't wait to see this groundbreaking effort come to fruition. And we must recognize, salute, and express our deepest gratitude to our constituents, Mr. and as our MP refers to him in her church as Deacon Kerryne and his engineering company, for developing such concept into a reality and for his commitment towards this project. So we say thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this journey is not just about the leaders and the helm, it's about each and every one of us. Join us as we roll up our sleeves, for it is in unity that we find our greatest strength. Let us walk hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder, to overcome obstacles and make a lasting impact on our community. Together we can and we will make a difference. Thank you all for being a part of this momentous occasion and for your unwavering commitment to the future of St. John. Let us march forward with hope, determination, and a shared vision for a better tomorrow for our beloved constituency. Let us keep the momentum going. Let's continue to put our community first, transform our communities, and ensure that every voice matters. After all, unity in action is our strength, and together we will build a St. John that future generation will be proud to call home. God bless you all, and God bless St. John. Thank you. Get home safe.